All right. Somebody, I think, somewhere has.
Well, happy hour Friday, everybody. We are ready to go. We are ready to have some fun. We are live on location today at the Roost at Harbor Pines. Yes, fresh off the golf course. Nuggets and I just played around. I whipped his ass. That's not even a lie.
Did you take?
Sadly,
Did you take
that's
his
not
money?
even a lie.
Did you take his money too?
I wouldn't say it was that bad.
I would.
I would.
Because if you lose to me, and even if it's close, that's an ass kicking.
Listen,
I'm the worst golfer you ever played against, and
I'm not
I
saying
carried
I'm
that
any.
team.
I'm
I
not
carried
that great.
team today. Carried us. Even pro Chris had to use some of my shots today.
He did.
That's the kind of day I had today on the course. We are live at the Roost today. Good day today. A lot of fun. Stop out. Ryder Cup happening early this morning. 7:15 tee off. 3-1. The Europeans leading USA. We'll keep our eye on that. They got it going on inside the Roost right now if you want to stop out and watch all the golf. And then, of course, the Phillies. They have an early first pitch tonight. And then, obviously, you got good college football this weekend starting tonight as well. 3 good games. Got a 7 o'clock, like a 9 o'clock, and I think a 10:30 tonight. And they got all the good sports here. You got great college football weekend. Penn State, Oregon, Bama, Georgia.
Got the whiteout this weekend.
Yeah, they do that every weekend.
Well, it's nighttime. That's the true whiteout.
Yes, that is the
it's
legit
not a big
one.
noon kickoff.
There's a daytime whiteout.
That doesn't count. This is an official, authentic whiteout.
I heard Canty talking about this morning. He was like, is it another whiteout game? Like, how many times can you go to the well
This is
with
the
whiteout
authentic
game?
whiteout.
This is the true whiteout
Yes.
for Penn State today.
Yes, we all
Okay.
know that.
Well, we are live at the Roost today, and look, it's going to be a fun day. We got so much going on, including we got the Phillies. Their final weekend series starts tonight. We'll look back at the game. Another rain delay game last night that had another hour-plus rain delay, but it was an interesting game. 1-0, they win the game last night, so we'll dive into some of the things in that game. You can't really – there's not a lot you can kind of take away from some of these games now. They've already clinched. The way they're kind of finishing the games out, we'll kind of look at that. But Eagles and, of course, the Buccaneers, 2 3-0 teams getting ready to match up at Raymond James down there. It's hot. It's hot down there in Tampa. The Eagles leaving early. We'll have updates and previews on that game as well. Sal Pal tonight at 5 o'clock. Sal Pal is always on a Sal Pal Friday. He's actually in Tampa. He'll be tuning in live from Tampa today for his Friday hit. Also, John McMullen. TJ Rives, who is the sideline reporter for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He actually did the play-by-play this past week because their longtime play-by-player, Gene Deckerhoff, he was actually sick. So TJ stepped into the play-by-play booth and called they had a field goal block in their game,
right.
too.
They were losing to the Jets. Baker Mayfield brings them downfield for another game-winning drive.
Yeah, so he called that game and the come from behind for the Buccaneers to make them now 3-0. So it's 3-0 Philadelphia, 3-0 Tampa Bay. And, of course, you can listen to that game on 97.3 ESPN. There's just a lot going on, man. It's that time of the year. Sixers Media Day today. And, the hits just keep on coming. Yesterday, we told you that Jared McCain with a UCL tear in his thumb, he will miss time today at Media Day. I guess the big story, and I don't know what to make of this. I mean, both Paul George and Joel Embiid, no timeline on when they're going to be ready to play, if at all, for the regular season's opener. We'll see. It was very vague.
Yeah, it was very vague, but Daryl Morey did give some clarification on Quentin Grimes, saying they're hopefully to get a resolution in the next few days on that situation.
So.
Okay.
So we'll see. We'll see. I don't know.
The Quentin Grimes news, I think, is way down the importance ladder from the other two gentlemen, because I want to get more clarification on. It was very vague on what was being reported today in terms of, they won't be ready for what? They won't be ready for the first day at camp. They won't be ready for, are they going to Abu Dhabi? Are they playing in Abu Dhabi? I would imagine not.
It sounds like Embiid is going to dictate his playing time now, right? It's gonna be based off his body, what he tells the Sixers, right? He's going to dictate when he plays.
Like Embiid's tired of listening to everybody tell him what to do, and
Pretty
he's
much,
like,
yeah.
you know what? I'm going to pick. Now, Paul George, the other obviously big name on that team, said on Friday that he hopes to return sooner rather than later, but does not have a concrete return to play timeline. So he was not ready to start the regular season last year. Now, he did play in preseason games last year. So now you got this whole Mickey Mouse game of, do you play these guys in preseason games? Do they not play in preseason games? Like, we do this in football. Now, I think as fans, we've all kind of come to terms with you're not going to see your best players play preseason football games. Are you going to have to now do that in the NBA, where I can't play guys in the preseason? Because last year Paul George played a preseason game, and the last one, he ended up hyperextending his knee.
Yeah, I mean, with the 76ers especially, you don't even want to play in regular season games early on. So forget about the preseason. You definitely don't want them in the preseason where they really don't matter. Early regular season, it's like you don't even want to play them because you're worried about them getting hurt early on in the season and they're not ready for the postseason. So it's just, at this point, it's like hopefully you get them after Christmas, get all the guys healthy, Embiid, George, everybody, Maxey, McCain now getting hurt with the UCL tear in his thumb. I mean,
that's my worry. Is the cohesion?
Start yet?
The cohesion's not going to be there.
No.
And we've been down this road so many times where these guys are out, these guys are in, and the cohesion, just the chemistry's not there to start the year.
Well, we talked about this yesterday when we heard the news of Jared McCain. And, this sets Jared McCain off right from the jump street. You're excited about this kid coming in, and it's him and Maxey, and you got VJ Edgecombe, and, he misses all of training camp. You never catch up for that time. You never kind of get back into missing the training camp time that you established the cohesion and all that stuff. So, Sixers Media Day today, and we'll continue to kind of see all this coming out of there. You hear the stupid stuff. Andre Drummond today said he feels 100% going into training camp. Well, I don't care about that, Andre Drummond. I hope you don't get any minutes this year. Because, quite frankly, that means Embiid's healthy, and Adem Bona is the main backup, and Andre Drummond's just kind of there waving a towel. So
Nick Nurse had a funny quote today as well. Kai Carlin tweeting this out. He started off his presser. He has a lot of pissed offness as a coach due to what happened last year.
Everybody, yeah.
I mean,
I do too.
I think a lot of fans. I think the whole team does.
Ticket holders, right?
Yeah, I mean, come on.
You and all season ticket holders are at a pissed offness level with this team.
Does it feel
right
different from last year? Because last year was kind of the same thing with Embiid,
tell you.
right? The Olympics, the ramping up period.
I think people last year were kind of surprised that Embiid was not ready because of the whole Olympic thing. That was like why? Wait a second, he just played in the Olympics. Why isn't he ready? And then Paul George, that was a surprise that he ended up getting hurt in the preseason. But I got to be honest with you.
Where's the expectations at from last year to this year? Are they a little tempered?
I got to be honest with you. I actually tweeted this out like a week ago. Saw the Embiid stuff, was getting some good reports from people that I know, and felt, you know what? I'm kind of intrigued by this team. And I tweeted out 50-plus wins, top 4 seed.
I did see that.
Book it.
I did see that.
And I feel pretty good that Embiid can play. Now, they have, 16 back-to-backs, I think, the league high?
Yeah.
So that would probably be at least 16 games that he will not play. But
including during Radio Row. They got a back-to-back in Golden State when we're out there during the Super Bowl week.
So they play the Clippers and Golden State in a back-to-back out there. But so you know that Joel's probably going to miss at least 16 games right off the rip right there. But I can be okay with that. If I said if Joel Embiid played 55 games this year, is everybody cool with that?
That would be a win. If Embiid
based
played
off
that
last
many.
year, yeah. Yep.
Well, I don't know that this is a great start today, but hey, obviously this is a developing situation because they left it very vague today. They did not come out and give you all that much.
No, not at all. And it's, Embiid's up there at the mic saying they essentially have –
He talked today?
Yeah, he talked today. He said they've made good progress over the last couple months, and he feels like he's in a better place. He said the Sixers have a plan, and they're going to take everything day by day. Okay. I mean, haven't we been doing that for years?
They didn't share the plan with us.
No timeline, no plan for us. They have.
Well, you know what? I actually think that's a better way to play it because they keep in the years past when they give you a timeline and then you can't stick to the timeline, it makes you look worse. So don't give a timeline. Don't give an expectation that you can't meet.
Yeah, no, don't set a standard like, all right, we think he's going to play this many games. He's going to come back at this time. It seems like they're just going to take it game by game. If he feels good, he's going to play. And if he's not going to, not feel great and his body's telling him no, he's not going to play. That's essentially it.
Robbie from Little Egg Harbor chimes in. It's getting old with the injuries with the Sixers. Now we have to see, now we have the star play in the preseason. I hope everyone is healthy by Christmas. Hopefully the Sixers get past the second round of the playoffs. Well, you're right. It is getting old with the injury. Robbie, that's the crux of your text right there that I think we can highlight. It's getting old with these injuries every year. And listen, I think Embiid, from what I have been told and from, you can just see the pictures of him. I'm not talking about these Ben Simmons videos of the past where he's out there shooting threes, not getting excited about that. But you can visibly see in these pictures of Joel so far that he has lost a considerable amount of weight. I mean, it's pretty
like
obvious.
Jordan Davis, same thing.
Jordan Davis, right. I mean, and you're seeing how that's changing his play. I said, for me, the only thing that Joel could do to win me over in terms of I'll give him the benefit of the doubt is if he shows up. Look how skinny he looks in that picture right there. Yeah, I mean, he obviously looks. Let's see if we can get that up on the StreamYard screen. He looks like a completely different person. And I said last year, the only thing Joel could do that would make me interested is if he showed up and lost about 30 to 40 pounds. And he did. So guess what? I said that I'd give him the benefit of the doubt if he lost all that weight, and he lost all that weight. So I'll give him the benefit of the doubt because, to me, Joel Embiid can't do much more to improve his game, right? He can make every shot on the court, right? He can make every shot on the court.
Yep.
He can kill you from the elbow. He can hit the baseline jumper. He can shoot a three. He can back you down. He can dominate a game. He can do everything offensively.
Don't even forget defensively.
Well, there's nothing more he can – I mean, there's very little more that at this stage of his career that he's going to do offensively. Now, can he do a better job against double teams, passing out of the double teams, all those things? Sure. But I said there's not much more that he can do that is going to elevate his offensive game to where you're like, oh, my God, he added that now too? Like, what more can he add? So I said the only thing that he can do that will convince me to say I'll give Joel the benefit of the doubt of I'll buy into the team and say this team has a shot is if he came back and lost a considerable amount of weight. And he has kept that. Me and him didn't make this bet together, this end of the bargain, but he did it. He did what I asked for because now Joel, I mean, the picture, and we'll put it up for the people watching on YouTube. And by the way, I apologize on the YouTube. We're outside at the Roost today, so of course I have the seat in the middle. Smart idea by all of us. Hey, give the guy the seat in the middle so nobody can see his face. I'm in the middle section, so the light is blocking my face out here. So I just look like a character, like I just look like a cutout.
You're the center of attention,
yeah,
so you have to sit in the middle.
No, normally I sit on the ends so that this thing doesn't happen.
But with a threesome here, you got to be in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so this is how we are situated on the if you look at the YouTube, Earnshaw is to my left like that, and Pete is on my right over here. And I'm in the middle, so the sun is getting blocked, so I just look like a cardboard cutout
You
now.
do look like a shadow silhouette.
It's like
Voice of Doom over here.
Yeah.
If you're watching on the X or the YouTube
If you're watching on the X platform. So, all right, so if you're watching on the X, we'll put the picture of Joel up. This was him today at Sixers Media Day. He was at the podium, and you could obviously see that he is considerably lighter.
He lost a lot of weight. It shows, and he needed to. You can't have all that weight putting the pressure on those knees. I mean, those knees are bionic at this point, right? With the amount of surgeries he's had on the knees. Listen, he had to lose weight. He had to get in better shape. We've known that. He came into good shape last year, too. He still got hurt, though. This year, he looks like he lost a considerable amount of weight. I'm very curious to see what they put his listed weight as because he looks healthier. He looks like his younger self, right? From, like, back in the rookie year.
David and Violent. I'm already tired of the Sixers.
Yeah, I mean, today's update was we're not ready.
Yeah.
That's basically what it was. PG's not ready, Embiid's not ready.
The coach is pissed off.
The Sixers aren't ready.
Now, Embiid, do we have this audio, Josh? Embiid did say that he is day to day. His recovery is day to day. So this is where I'm not clear on some of this stuff. So when we have that ready to go, let me know. But Embiid did talk today. So did Paul George. But I thought, Embiid saying, I think it's better for them not to give a timeline for Embiid. As frustrating as we want to hear, he'll be ready in 2 weeks. And then if he's not ready in 2 weeks, we bemoan the fact that they said he'd be ready in 2 weeks.
Yeah, but even if he comes back, right, it's still kind of day by day when he comes back.
Yeah.
Like, is he going to feel great that day? Is he going to feel like crap the
Right,
next?
just
Like,
because he comes back doesn't mean he's going to play all 82 games. You don't know what's going to
you're
happen.
playing this game all year, especially with him, with PG getting the knee surgery. Now you have McCain hurt. I mean, you're going to be playing musical chairs with this lineup all year long, it feels like, already.
And what we talked about last year was a big thing was how does this team play without Embiid? What's their style of play? I know they're younger, they're faster, but what's this team like without
And that's
Embiid?
the thing. I was excited to see, listen, Embiid is the biggest X factor of the whole thing. We know that. But Maxi's a joy to watch. He got hurt last year. McCain was a joy to watch. He got hurt last year. Now you had VJ Edgecombe. Quentin Grimes ended up coming over and becoming a scoring player for you, and he's a good defensive player. So you've got that four-guard weave. I'm very intrigued to see how they play those guys together. How do you get Edgecombe, McCain, Maxey, and Grimes once he hopefully ends up signing? How do you get those four guys all playing together minutes? Who plays together? Who starts? Who comes off the bench? Who finishes the games? That kind of stuff. Then you throw in Paul George. I know everybody laughs. Paul George, never healthy. I don't look at it things like people aren't healthy or not healthy. I look at it as, look, you had all offseason to get yourself healthy. Can you get your ass back on the court when the season starts? Whatever happens once the season starts, it's out of my control. But the fact that you're not ready to go when the season starts, that's the frustrating
Well, that's
part.
two guys, McCain and Paul George, getting hurt just training, right? Practicing, things of that nature. Both of them hurt heading into the season. I mean, what are we supposed to expect when they do step on the floor for a regular season game and you're going back-to-backs a lot, right? 16 that you mentioned earlier. What are you going to do then? Are they going to be able to stay healthy and stay on the floor every night? I don't know if it's going to happen. I just don't know.
Here's what Joel Embiid said today about his recovery.
We've made a lot of progress over the last couple months. We got a plan in place, trying to check all the boxes. So, just taking it day by day. This is still, kind of like a fill period where we just, taking it day by day, keep getting stronger, keep getting better. There's been a few court sessions. So, everything is, on schedule. So, but I think, with your team, following whatever we have planned, I think, there's not necessarily an expectation. It's more about making sure everything is right and doing everything right.
So we've got a plan. We're following that plan. I don't even want to know what the plan is.
I don't even care what the plan is.
I don't want to know what the plan is.
Don't care.
Yeah.
Don't care.
Stay under the radar. Stay under the radar. Let everybody, like this guy here, Embiid's a joke. He's been a joke for a long time now. Nothing's changed. I'm sure he'll be fat and out of shape when he's eventually cleared. Let those people look like idiots. Let those people continue to – I mean, the guy won the MVP. He's a joke.
Come on.
He's this, he's that. The guy won the MVP, and he's a joke.
He's just injury
Just
prone.
listen to how stupid people sound. Like, you know how dumb that sounds? The guy's the MVP of the league. I get it. He's frustrating. But to say the guy's a joke makes you a complete clown show.
That's why it's so sad as a Sixers fan to not have that guy on the court.
Yeah, you should say, you know what? That guy is so awesome. It's a shame that he can't stay healthy.
That's exactly
That's the way you should look at it. To call the guy a joke makes you a complete clown show. Like walking around with big old shoes and a big old red nose and a big old wig. That's that guy's comment right there.
Listen, I mean,
the guy is the most
amazing.
dominant NBA player when he's healthy. But you know what? There's a lot of guys 7'2" in this history of this league that sadly, many of them have had injury problems.
Yao Ming.
Are they all clown shows?
Greg
Are they
Oden.
all a joke? Bill Walton, was he a joke? He couldn't stay healthy because he's 7 feet tall and that much weight on your feet at 7 foot running up and down a wood floor. It's not conducive to your health.
No.
And that's what makes it sad about Embiid is that he's 7'2", and yes, he has not been in the best shape. That has been one of the problems with him. And even as a guy who's been a little out of shape, he's been out of shape. He has been the most dominant player in the league at times. That's what we should be looking at. All right, coming up, Mike McGarry from the Press of Atlantic City. Phillies final weekend. All the biggest questions heading into the playoffs. Next on the Sports Bash. All right, welcome back. Sports Bash is live at the Roost today. They got a lot going on. They actually have a special menu for the Ryder Cup. Now, people out on the golf course, when they come to the Roost today, there's going to be a special menu that you can order for Ryder Cup today, which is going on. They've got the burrata bites, deep-fried burrata served with marinara sauce, meatball skewers, tender meatballs atop sautéed peppers and onions served with marinara sauce, and a spinach cherry tomato flatbread pizza. Looks like what Peachy went with.
That's sitting right there.
That looked really good.
Very good.
Really good. And then they got Ryder Cup special drinks, a caprese burger, and that Italian sub. My guy Tim, who we played golf with today, he got that Italian sub. It looked banging. It was grilled chicken chopped with fresh spinach, red roasted peppers, mozzarella. They got a chicken parm meal if you want to come out for dinner tonight. So if you're looking for a place to go to dinner tonight, you want to watch the Phillies a little bit later, and the Ryder Cup, you can come on out here. Ryder Cup on all day, all weekend. By the way, we're going to talk to the pro here, Chris, later. They're going to the Ryder Cup tomorrow. They're leaving here tonight to go to Bethpage, and they're going to go to the Ryder Cup tomorrow. So he's going to tell us a little bit about how they got that whole thing set up.
And he's got a crazy outfit for that. That looks amazing.
Yeah,
absolutely
he did show
awesome.
us his outfit was pretty wild. All right, Mike McGarry from the Press of Atlantic City, pressofac.com. Phillies final weekend, so all the biggest questions leading into the playoffs, we'll get them with Mike right now on the Sports Bash Live, 97.3 ESPN. Michael, what's up, man?
Starving. I got to go get something to eat now, or maybe run down there and get a little chicken palm. And number two, for those guys going to the Ryder Cup, they better hope the Ryder Cup's still in doubt tomorrow with the way the Europeans are playing right now.
That's I said. We got here to play golf this morning at about 10, and I said this thing might be over already. It was 3-0 when we got here today. All right, Mike. And by the way, if you're on your way to a game and you want to get here a little early, it's on us. The meal's on us. All right.
Good enough. Good enough.
Last night, Walker Buehler obviously pitched a gem, and they backed him up with Taijuan Walker. But thoughts on Walker Buehler's outing? And now, I don't know, does that have your mind thinking about him in any different role capacity moving forward?
Think there's any doubt now he's going to be on the playoff roster. We've talked a lot that when the division series starts, the Phillies will only need 3 starters. We all believe those will be the 3 lefties, Sanchez, Luzardo, and Suarez. Sanchez in game 1, I think Suarez in 2, and then Luzardo in 3. If they get to the championship series, they'll need a 4th starter. I still believe that guy is going to be Aaron Nola, but I can see Buehler with his experience, with his moxie. Maybe if the Phillies are going to, you might see Walker Buehler
really well. I mean, the first inning, he kind of battled, got out, and thought he threw well.
relief innings, help you take down innings in the middle of the game. I think both Buehler and Walker have shown that in the last couple of weeks of the season.
All right, so set up your rotation. Is it definitively Christopher Sanchez, Ranger Suarez, Jesus Luzardo? Because yesterday, I don't know if it's recency bias, but the way Luzardo threw the other night, people are like, oh, you got to throw him number 2 and have Suarez number 3. And then, of course, you want Luzardo pitching at home, Ranger on the road. Do you buy into any of that, or are you going Ranger number 2, Luzardo number 3?
Yeah, I'm definitely going Ranger number 2, Luzardo number 3 for the following reasons. And I'll grant you Luzardo on the road, Luzardo in a Dodger Stadium for a Game 3, Luzardo in Citi Field for a Game 3 against the Mets, Luzardo in Great American Ballpark. Game 3 would worry me. First of all, I put Ranger 2 because I want to break up the type together, but let's break it up. Let's not have back-to-back hard guy, hard thrower. And then again, if Sanchez were to lose Game 1, your season is basically on the line in Game 2. Who do I feel more comfortable going to the mound in that success and a lot of postseason experience before?
All right, Mike, obviously this is the last weekend of the regular season, and what we're going to learn here, I would imagine you'll see guys take their turn in the rotation, but probably not pitch full games. But is there any other pitching thoughts that you have entering these playoffs? Is there still stuff that needs to be settled out?
Yeah, no thoughts. I don't think anything needs to be settled out, Mike. The question mark I have going into these playoffs is just the bridge between the starter and Duran. I mean, are the Phillies going to be able to successfully navigate that 7th, 8th inning to get to the closer? If you remember back to last year's playoffs, that was a big problem. That was the reason they lost to the Mets. They were up in Game 1 when Wheeler left. The Mets rallied against the bullpen. That's my question now. Is Strom going to be effective? Is David Robertson going to be effective? Is Orion Kirkland going to be effective? Are the Phillies going to be able to get in a one-run game those 3 outs, those 2 outs, those 4 outs that you need to bridge from the starter to Duran? That, I think, is the biggest question going into the playoffs. You're not going to get the answer this weekend. You're going to find out in the postseason. But that's the biggest question I have about the Phillies pitching staff right now.
All right, Mike McGarry for the Press of Atlantic City, pressofac.com. Let's look at the offense here. And obviously, you don't have Trey Turner back. Do you anticipate that he will play in a game this weekend, or have they gotten to the point where they don't need to see him play?
Yeah, it sounds like, they continually say they'd like to see him play, but reading between the lines, it doesn't sound like, to me, he's going to play this weekend. They feel he'll definitely be ready for Game 1, next Saturday, but it doesn't sound to me like Trey Turner will be out there this weekend. I'd love to see him play. I think it'd be good if he got out there even for just 6 innings on Sunday, get a couple at bats. I think it would do a world of good for his confidence, but it doesn't look like that is going to happen at this point.
And obviously, if he doesn't play the rest of this weekend, he's just going to jump back in. Does he jump right back in and lead off? Is that obvious?
Yeah, that's obvious. He's right back at the top of the order. Harrison Bader goes back to 7 or 8 in the order. I think one of the things is, kind of lost a little bit this week is in the 8 home runs, the Edmundo Sosa 3 home run game, the Kyle Schwarber trying to close in on Ryan Howard's record. Harrison Bader has cooled off a little bit at the top of the lineup. So, yeah, without a doubt, Trey Turner is back to the leadoff. Harrison Bader, who, has played a tremendous center field. I was saying to some guys in the press box last night, just watching him play center field, you're like, oh my God, that's what a real center fielder looks like. What have we been watching? Adubel Herrera stumble around out there, different guys stumble around out there for like 4 or 5 seasons. This guy plays center field. This is what a center fielder looks like. So yeah, he's cooled off a little bit. He goes back to the bottom of the order, lengthens the order on the bottom end, and Trey Turner goes right back to the number 1 slot.
Okay, so he's there, and I guess these platoons, they're all sticking out there. I guess the one question I'm interested in, see if you're interested, is Marsh. Has he earned, is he going to play left field against left-handed pitchers, or are they going to go with Weston Wilson and Nick Castellanos against lefties and Max Kepler and Marsh against righties?
Yeah, I think you'll see a strict platoon from at least in the right field portion of things. I think that'll be a strict platoon with Kepler and Castellanos. The Marsh situation and the Bryson Stott situation at second base, I think they will get the starts against lefties. But Rob Thompson said, particularly when asked about Bryson Stott, there might be some lefties in the playoffs that you don't play him again. You don't play Bryson Stott. For example, and this name just pops into my head, even though he's not in the playoffs, a Chris Sale type of pitcher who's notoriously tough on left-handed pitchers. Then you might not see Marsh and Stott in the lineup. But if a normal lefty, I think you're going to see Marsh and Stott in the lineup, and I think you'll see that strict platoon between Kepler and Castellanos in right field.
All right, that's a lot of the big stories that are going on right now. Sports Bash, we have it covered. Of course, the Phillies will play somebody next Saturday right here on 97.3 ESPN. It's either the Dodgers, the Mets, the Reds, or the Diamondbacks. One of those four are most probable. Right now, it looks like the Phillies would be a long shot to pass the Brewers. I think the Brewers would have to lose out, and the Phillies would have to win out. I think that's the way that would happen there. So it looks like the Phillies will be the 2 seed and play either L.A., Cincinnati, Arizona, or New York. Who makes the wild card?
Well, I think the wild card series is going to be, I think that obviously the Dodgers are in there. I think the Mets grab that 6th spot. The Dodgers eliminate the Mets in the wild card round, and I think the Dodgers are sitting in Citizens Bank Saturday, and I think that is a great series. And I think the winner of that series might, be the team that actually wins the World Series this year. I think, especially when I look at the Phillies, if they get through that division series, if they can navigate past the Dodgers, and I think it'll be the Dodgers, I think the Phillies got a very good chance of winning the National League and maybe even winning the World Series title. To me, the hardest part on the road to a World Series championship is going to be getting past what I believe will be the Dodgers in that 3 of 5 division series.
All right, Mike, I know it was a big high school football game last night. Where are you heading today? You have a game tonight?
Yeah, absolutely. Headed out, about to up in the car. Egg Harbor City, beautiful Egg Harbor City for Cedar Creek. 3-1 state Group 3 contender. They'll be hosting Holy Spirit at 2-2, 6:00 kickoff. Kind of a measuring stick for both teams. And we'll also have coverage of Absegami and Oakcrest, one of those old Thanksgiving rivalries that's been pushed to earlier in the season. We'll have a reporter, Patrick Moran, will be out at that game. So another great night of high school football coming up. We'll have all the scores, all the results, later tonight. But I'll be in Egg Harbor City for Cedar Creek and Holy Spirit.
All right, Mike. Well, we're over here at the Roost. If you want to stop by, the meal's on us. All right, pal?
All right. Well, enjoy that food, and you better put a little snap in the U.S.'s step when it comes to the Ryder Cup there. So let's go.
Tell me about it. All right, bud. We'll talk to you on Monday when the playoffs are all set, and, of course, the weekend is all in the books. Mike McGarry from the Press of Atlantic City, pressofac.com, and he's conditioning, your trusted source serving South Jersey since 1911, keeping your home comfort game day ready this season. Super Bowl trophies in the house. Stop out, take a gander at that. It's always one of those things. You walk up, kind of takes your breath away, right? Kind of feel like, oh, wow. So you can get your picture taken with that out here. We're right on hole 1 and 9. 1 here, 9 there. Coming up, Nick Sirianni, his Friday presser, talks about the Eagles as they get ready for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And head coach Nick Sirianni will talk a little bit more about this matchup between 2 3-0 teams. That is coming up next on the Sports Bash Live, including what does he think the team will do to compensate for no Nolan Smith? You'll hear that answer and more when Nick Sirianni's presser airs next on the Sports Bash. All right, welcome back. We are live at the Roost today at Harbor Pines. We played earlier. We're going to tell you a little bit about our day on the course because I kicked everyone's ass. I was the best there was, the best there is, the best there ever will be. I was Bret Hart today.
Not on the ninth hole. I was the best on the ninth hole. Apparently, it's the hardest one. That's the hardest hole. I was the best on that one. I'm just saying.
Update on Nolan Smith, how they will compensate for not having their edge rusher. Eagles head coach Nick Sirianni speaks now on the Sports Bash.
Why the timeout at the end of regulation against the Rams?
Yeah, we wanted to make sure that we potentially had one more play. Like, it happened in another game that happened last week or the week before. We just wanted to make sure that if they were going to throw the ball in that scenario, that we'd have one more attempt at it because they were in pretty comfortable range. So you kind of look at it like, what would I do in this scenario? In that scenario, I would have let the clock run down, which ultimately ended up happening, and kick the field goal right there, and that would be the last play of the game. So I was just trying to think about having one more chance if you could kick the field goal with 16 seconds. But again, we didn't have all our array of timeouts, so you kind of you call the timeout there and then see how they play it and then go from there.
In terms of up tempo, what goes into the considerations of increasing that in a game, and is this a unit where that's particularly suitable to your personnel?
Against Tampa? Yeah, I'm not going to get into that or why we would do it, but it's always part of our equations, part of our game planning to have tempo in our game plan. That's going back. If you've looked at our team from 21, 22, 23, 24, it's always been part of our game. Some years have been a little bit more, some games have been a little bit more, but that's always in consideration with us, and I think we operate well out of it, and there's a time and place for it to do it. And last week was obviously one of those times, and we executed well out of it.
I would expect a drastic increase on that average the last couple of years.
I'm sorry, Brooks.
You mentioned the past couple of years that average. There wouldn't be kind of consideration of a higher tick than that.
Every game, every season, calls for different things. So again, like I said, I think we were up. I can't tell you exactly what the numbers were, but I know we were up high, particularly a couple years ago in no huddle. Every game, we'll see what happens.
At edge rusher, how do you compensate for the absence of Nolan Smith?
Yeah, this is why you have depth. This is why I'm so appreciative of Howie and his staff of what they, the players they bring in. We got a lot of depth there. It's never, and as you guys have asked me this before, it's like, who replaces this guy's production? Well, it never just has to be one, right? Just like how you play defense. It's not one guy just doesn't have to make the tackle. Sometimes he does, but you play as a team. Well, it's the same thing, You got group tackles, you got gang tackles, and it's the same thing here. Not one guy has to take the production or take the reps. We got a lot of guys with that ability, and I'm really excited about our depth and the guys that we have in that room.
What do you think? What is Adori's situation as far as Sunday, and if he can't go, what do you like about Keely Ringo and the way he's kind of handled everything?
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how that goes. You guys will get an injury report later today. But Keely's done a really nice job, just continuing to work to get better. And obviously we have a lot of faith in him. I think a lot of times you can see guys make their way on special teams that may not play or start right away. And, those guys that are able to do that and make their way on special teams have, you trust those guys in these scenarios as well. Had a lot of guys like that. I remember, and I know it's different with a corner too, because you're talking about covering and not just tackling and defeating blocks, but that's a big part of it as well. But I think back to Tyrell Williams, a wide receiver I had with the Chargers. In 2015, he was primarily a special teams player and not catching a lot of balls. And then the last game of the year, he had an 80 or 70-yard touchdown on a post play. And then the next year, he has 1,000 yards receiving. So but he made his way on special teams, right? That playing time's really, really critical.
In terms of the kick return personnel that you've had, even since the beginning of the offseason, you've had a lot of people in and out there, some of them injury related. What have been some of the, I wouldn't say issues, but what have been some of the things that you've encountered in terms of trying to evaluate that spot and find the right person?
Yeah, I'm really pleased and excited about the group that we have as far as our kick returners. Again, like I told you guys, I didn't feel like I did a good enough job preparing those guys to catch those kicks and give them enough reps. And that's it's a fundamental. And obviously we fixed that this week, and would do it. As didn't love the way I handled that. So, but excited about the talent we have back there. You have Tank, you have Mechie. You have AJ, Dylan, you got Will Shipley, right? So really excited about that, the core group of guys that we have back there. Just, again, like I said, I just didn't feel like I did a good enough job preparing them last week. And that's not nobody but me. But I love the talent that we have back there. With the runners that we have back there, it's very similar to a running play. And we got confidence in those guys to be able to do that.
With the emphasis on taunting from the league this year, do you have a good sense of what will be called and what won't be called?
Yeah, I do. That was in our game that you have a referee crew. You kind of know the penalties that they call, and you emphasize that every day. You guys know we have a team meeting, and one of the first things we talk about is that crew's emphasis, and kind of then just teaching them the rules within that, whether it's roughing the passer or pass interference or illegal shift, whatever it may be. And so this week we went and we'll continue to do this until we fix the problem. We did the taunts. I'm not saying that this crew has a high taunt penalty rate, but we are lacking in that area right now. So that's one of the ways we're working to fix it, is just to understand that they are calling it tighter. And hey, listen, the NFL can do whatever they want to do there. It's our job to play by the rules of how they're calling it. This is no different either than year in, year out. There's emphasis that NFL puts on a certain rule. They go through their studies just like we go through our studies. Hey, we got to get better at this, or we got to officiate this better. I love that. I love that they go through that process. And so, this is no different. It's just a different type of penalty that we're seeing, and it's getting called more. So it's our job to play within those rules, keep our composure, and, play within the rules of the game.
There's Nick Sirianni, everybody, and I thought the big thing he was asked earlier was about, obviously, how do you compensate the loss of Nolan Smith? That will be the big story this weekend. He says, hey, Howie Roseman, he went out and got us the players to bring in. We got a lot of depth there, but he didn't really clearly say who's going to be the guy who gets those reps there. The other thing that he did talk about when you look at and I think it's a big thing, is the kick returner. He said in terms of the kick return personnel you've had ever since the beginning of the offseason, a lot of people here, he mentioned everybody. Tank, Mechie, A.J. Dillon, Will Shipley. Kickoffs have been a huge factor in the season. And by the way, you saw that game last night. It cost the Cardinals that game last night. The kicker couldn't kick the ball past the 20-yard line, and it gave the Seahawks the ball at the 40, and it allowed them to kick the game-winning field goal. When we come back, John McMullen joins us next.
Sunday, the Birds head down to Tampa to take on the Buccaneers in Week 4.
1st and 10 Bucs up across the 40. Mayfield back, dancing around. He is sacked back at the 30.
Pre-game coverage begins at noon. Merrill and Mike call all the action starting at 1 p.m. This is where the Super Bowl champs play. 97.3 ESPN, South Jersey's official Eagles station.
All right, welcome back. Hour 2. We're live at the Roost in Egg Harbor Township at Harbor Pines. This is where everybody's hanging out for the Ryder Cup today. Now, you got a lot of people playing golf. When they're done, the bar will be nice and full for the Phillies game tonight, I would imagine. That's a 6:05 start, guys, right? Phil's tonight? They got that early start again?
6:45 tonight. 6:45.
It's a light up connect or whatever they call it. City
Connect.
City Connect Friday.
Yeah, light up Friday nights. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll dive more on the Phillies a little bit later on in the show when their lineup comes out. We'll get it to you right here on the Sports Bash. Right now, we're checking in on the Eagles. John McMullen, of course, is back on a Friday here.
Eagles
The Eagles
ready to go
ready
to Tampa. They're heading down to Tampa a little earlier than usual for a road game here, and he joins us with a look at the Eagles and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who seem to play in this very week every single year. And someone just sent me a text message about this. They played in this week, this year, week 4, last year, week 4, and in 2023 in Tampa, they played in week 3, and they played in the wild card game. And in 2021, they played a wild card game. So the last 5 times they have met, they have played in Tampa, and it's either been a wild card game or a week 4 or 3 game. So, John, the Eagles know going down there early in the season has been a problem for them. I don't know if it's a lot of these teams, they go to Florida early. It's just so hot down there. But what kind of advantage or what kind of thing are they trying to gain by heading down there a day early?
Yeah, good question, because everybody seems to say you can't really acclimate to that kind of heat in one day, which I think makes sense. Vic Fangio kind of blew it up. I don't often disagree with the Eagles, and they're leaving at 4:15, so they're leaving very soon for Tampa. But yeah, I don't agree with this one, because I think it plays into the thought process of the struggles down there. And you highlighted, you should have said, well, we're doing something different because we struggled with it. And I think really more of the struggles, which are real, obviously, but they had more to do with circumstance and injury than anything else. And I kind of look at it, the one time they were relatively healthy. You're never fully healthy in the NFL. But the one time they were relatively healthy and A.J. Brown was out there, they won by 2 touchdowns. And last year, I mean, they didn't have A.J., they didn't have Devontae Smith, they didn't have Lane Johnson, and they predictably got blown out. I don't know if they didn't handle the heat well. Anybody watching that game could see it, but I don't think they lost because of the heat. I think they lost because so many good players were out.
Yeah.
And really, if you look at this game, where I know we're concerned as the Eagles injury report is much deeper this week, and guys got placed on IR, most notably Nolan Smith. So they're starting to crop up. But if you look at Tampa, they're devastated injury-wise. So, I think the Eagles are in a good position to win this game. And I wouldn't have highlighted our previous struggles if I were the Eagles.
Yeah, and, one of the things is you talk about Tampa, their injuries are in an interesting spot. They are on the offensive line. They got a merry-go-round up front there. I'm interested to see, though, your take, John, on what the Eagles do, because Nick didn't really give you a lot today when asked about how to compensate with the absence of Nolan Smith. So how do you see them kind of using the Nolan Smith snaps now? Where do they go? Who kind of gets an uptick? That'll be a big story, I guess, come Sunday.
Yeah, I think everybody gets an uptick. So it's Darius Smith, Alex Hunt, Josh Uche, most notably, and then you're going to need either Azeez Ojulari or Obo to step up and play at least some snaps. I think the way they'll handle it. I like the Zadarius Smith signing. They're ramping him up. They were going to get him up to about 35, I think, is where they want him, the sweet spot. Now he might have to play a little bit more. But I think Alex Hunt is the guy, if you're talking about volume, that's going to have to play a lot more and basically almost a lot of snaps. Let's put it that way. So, I think that injury is an issue. I talked about that pretty much since the spring. Nolan Smith, I thought, was one of the most important players on this team. And this is even before they got Zadarius Smith, which helped a little bit. But you looked at that edge rushing room and said, boy, if Nolan gets hurt, they could be in deep trouble. And here we are, and Nolan's hurt.
John McMullen, Birds 365 Sports Illustrated on the Sports Bash. Yes, Nolan Smith will not play for the next couple of weeks here. We'll see how the Eagles compensate. Where do you place him, John, on like the pantheon, the hierarchy of importance to make this defense work?
Yeah, well, I think he's very important, but I think it has more to do with the lack of depth at the position. Like, I don't want to overstate it as far as, obviously the best players on defense are Zach Bond and Jalen Carter. And obviously, Jordan Davis has had a tremendous start to the season. Quinyon Mitchell, guys like that are the true stars. Level of a star per se, although, there's still a lot of room to grow and things like that nature. But because of what they have at the edge position without him, I thought he was going to be one of the most important players on this team, and I think it's kind of shaken out that way.
All right, John. Obviously, do you think they have struggled against the run? Is that something that you would say, you're watching them, and they are having problems against the run? Is that fair to say?
Well, yes and no. I think, part of it is Vic is willing to give up a little bit in the run if as long as the pass is locked down. I think it's ironic because the Eagles play such a unique style of offense, and really nobody else plays the way they do. You could say Baltimore a little bit, but not many teams play the way they do. So Vic has a defense built to stop the rest of the NFL, which is more about passing, 11 personnel, yada, yada, yada. So, they want to be better, but the goal is to, stop the run with 4 guys up front. And that's what they were able to do in the second half of the season last year. If he can't, he'll go to 5 and he'll even go to 6, and he generally calms the issue down. But then you leave yourself susceptible to big plays in the passing game. So that's what he doesn't want to do. So, yes, they have to get a little bit better. But I think where they were against the Rams, he's fine with that. If you start getting up to Saquon Barkley level games from last year, then he would have a big issue. And then you got to change things up a little bit.
All right, John, you take a look at that. Stay on the defensive side of the ball because obviously Adoree Jackson, he was a little banged up too. You obviously lost Jacorian Bennett. Now they don't have Mike Evans, and I wonder how much that, the secondary against Baker Mayfield and that, wide receiving core, which, if Godwin, he's back, that gives them something. But they're pretty good with Evans, Godwin, and then, of course, the rookies having a really good season out there. They got a good tight end. But is that going to be something that will be a concern this week, even without Mike Evans?
Yeah, well, I think that hurts. I think that was a big strength on paper of Tampa Bay, their receiving group, because as you mentioned, if you get Chris Godwin back along with Mike Evans and a great rookie like Egbuka, it's something, you really got something cooking there. And obviously Mike Evans is the key to it all. So that's a big injury for them, to say the least. And then, Chris Godwin is most likely going to play, but, I think he hasn't played in a long time. I don't think he just steps in there week 1 after being out that kind of period and plays the whole game and is the old Chris Godwin. I think you're going to have a ramp-up period. So, ultimately, I think people are looking at that and saying, oh, Chris Godwin's going to step on the field and be the same guy we remembered. I don't think that's going to happen. even to a certain degree with Tristan Wirfs as well. And you got to see where they're going to play him. Left tackle, right tackle. He's been an all-pro at both positions, and they have so many issues on the offensive line as well. And then Kalijah Kancey, I think, is a huge loss as well on the defensive front. So for those concerned about the Eagles' injuries, it should be, but Tampa's got a heck of a lot more that they're dealing with.
All right, John, you're looking at the Eagles' defense, and, Baker Mayfield, too. He has been a gunslinger, and, this is a team that has won games down to the last possession 3 straight weeks here. So we'll see how the Eagles' defense holds up there. Do you think that Jahad Campbell would be an option to get some Nolan Smith snaps and using Trotter there, or is that something that they just aren't ready to do yet? Because obviously Campbell has been billed as this guy who can play linebacker and be a pass rusher.
Yeah, I don't think so, not at this stage. He has gotten a few reps at edge, and he does work occasionally with Jeremiah Washburn at practice. But that's more of a long-term goal. When he is out there, he's sort of a one-trick pony, and it's about all speed. And that usually isn't going to work, at least against good NFL tackles. I think, because you're talking about, is he better as an edge rusher essentially than somebody like Ojulari or Obo? And I don't think that's the case at this stage. Maybe they get there. Maybe they spend this offseason trying to get there. But right now, and the second part, he's playing great as an off-ball linebacker. So they don't want to weaken 2 positions. I don't see that as an option right now.
All right, John, let's look at the Eagles offense. They do have AJ, and they do have Devontae Smith this time around. They do have Lane Johnson, it looks like. Those 3 did not play the last time they went to Tampa in week 4. And, oh, by the way, it was noticeable that they didn't play in that game. Having those guys back, building off of what you saw in the fourth quarter, listening to Nick and Petula this week, do you anticipate, and is that the area to go after the Buccaneers secondary and open up the game a little bit more, less conservative? Let's use that word.
Yeah, well, that's been a talking point to be more aggressive and to sort of take the lead. But I think the Eagles look at it more as an execution problem than anything else. And they believe they have been. They just haven't executed to where people out in the outside world know it. So I don't think you're going to see many changes from a philosophical standpoint of how they play. They just want to play better. And I think, in this particular game, if Todd Bowles' history, and there's no reason to think he's going to stop. The last 3 games, he's blitzed Jalen Hurts at a 70% rate, which is astonishing. And that's their goal. Their goal has been, and they've been very successful, is to pin him in the pocket. And if he does get outside the pocket, make sure he's flushing left, not right, to his dominant side. That's been their whole plan. I expect that to continue. So a lot of it is how the Eagles are going to handle that pressure, because at times this season they've been blitzed a lot by everybody, and at times this season they have not handled it well. So that's going to only further embolden somebody like Todd Bowles, who's very aggressive in every game, but he's been even more aggressive when he's playing the Eagles.
All right, John, running game, Eagles run game with Saquon Barkley. Anything that you're seeing as to why this running game has been just average, not great, right? I mean, and is this a week where is this a Tampa Bay team that you could get the running game going against?
Well, they're very good. It's not the team that you want to get because Big Vita Bay is in the middle. So right there, that's really difficult typically to run the ball against Tampa Bay. And usually if you do, it's going to be outside zone, not inside zone, because that guy, you can't move him. And he's one of the best run defenders in the NFL. But I think, we got done talking to Saquon. I think from his standpoint, He mentioned he was talking to some legendary running backs over the last week. You know, he generally talks to Barry Sanders. He mentioned he talked to Adrian Peterson about the looks they're seeing. And I remember Adrian in his MVP season because I got to cover that. And, you know, his quarterback was Christian Ponder. So he faced a lot of heavy boxes, and he found a way to be successful. So he's telling, you know, number one, I think Saquon is going for the big play a little bit too much, and he sort of verbalized that today. You know, if it's blocked for 3 yards, get the 3 yards, get the 5 yards, whatever it is, and then the big plays will come. So I think he's very focused on that versus taking some of those maybe losses, those negative plays where he's trying to create something out of nothing.
All right, John, when you're looking at this game and obviously all the practices and everything you've heard this week, where is the big matchup in this game that makes the difference?
Well, I do think it's about the Eagles picking up the Tampa Bay blitz because that's where they've had success. I think that's where the game will be won or lost. I do think the Eagles are well equipped. Lane Johnson's going to play, Jordan Mailata. So, you know, those guys can handle their business. It's more about communication on the interior. And when they send the extra man, that's when it becomes, you know, Jalen Hurts has got to understand where the football needs to go. They have to communicate. They have to understand. They have to get up to the line of scrimmage early. That's a big thing. Keep an eye on that. If they're getting up to the line of scrimmage late in the play clock, that means they can't adjust at the line of scrimmage. So that's something I would keep a focus on. But if they handle the Tampa Bay blitz, they're going to win this game pretty easily.
Okay, you heard it from John McMullen there. They could win this game pretty easily. The one big thing, you just talked about it too before, the injuries on their offensive line. If the Eagles can give them problems up front, you're talking Jalen Carter. Hey, do I got to put Jordan Davis in that thing? Like, is he now a problem for teams trying to figure out what to do with him? Ojomo in the middle of that offensive line. And then, of course, the edge rushers, will see how they move on without Nolan Smith, at least the next 4 weeks here. Plus, they have a bye somewhere in there. So he might be out a total of 6 weeks here. We'll see how the Eagles play this with Nolan and if he can get back. John McMullen is the host of Birds 365, weekday mornings at 8 a.m. on the Jacob Media YouTube channel, and check out all his written work on the Eagles at Sports Illustrated. John, thanks, buddy.
All right, thanks, Mike.
All right, John McMullen, everybody, of course, right here on the Sports Pass live on 97.3 ESPN, the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app, and live video streaming on the X platform and on YouTube at Mike Gill Show. We got so much more going, but before we go, I want you guys to hear something that Harry Douglas said this morning. He was on Get Up this morning and had something very interesting to say about the Eagles' running game and why he thinks that the Eagles' running game has been a problem.
A lot of teams understand that the Eagles are going to run the football, so they're going to put 9 guys, 8 guys in the box to try to stop the run. That's why I feel like offensive coordinator Kevin Patullo, you have to open things up a lot more with the A.J. Brown, who I believe is a top 3 receiver in the league, and also a Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, get him a lot more involved. Goddard had 1 catch last week, and guess what? That 1 catch was 4 touchdowns.
Right. Yeah.
Get your tight end more involved. So I think the more the pass game opens up, Saquon Barkley is going to have more lanes and avenues to be able to rush through and be effective as well.
Is everybody ready to utilize Saquon Barkley less? That's what it sounds like he said there is, hey, these guys are putting 9 in the box. Open it up. And he mentioned Goddard. He had a 1 catch for 33-yard touchdown right down the seam because everybody's got attention on your outside guys. Now that opens up the middle of your field.
Well, Jared Verse, even with the Rams, he talked about like letting Jalen Hurts throw and crushing that narrative, right? He talked about that during his one of his press conferences during this week. And, you know, I don't mind him getting less carries because he was getting a lot of carries last year, right? You want to save him towards the end of the year. So let Jalen go throw the ball and win you a couple games that way.
Like
I'm cool with that.
It's a battle of attrition here, right?
I'm cool with that.
The battle of attrition of can we put this in our back pocket and use it when we need it, like they did last year, but the reverse way?
Yeah, do it the other way.
We last year ran Saquon to the Super Bowl, and then we didn't need him in the Super Bowl, and we still beat you. This time, can you go the opposite way and say, hey, Saquon, just take it easy this year, and we'll use you in the playoff run?
Yeah, I think that's how you got to roll with it, right? Especially if they're going to load the box up with 9 guys and Saquon really can't get going. All right, go one-on-one, and that'll open up more man coverage opportunities for A.J. Brown, for Jalen. Just throw it up to him, right?
Yeah, listen, I think – and listen – to say to suppress Saquon Barkley, that's not what I'm really
not like totally get rid of him, but like use him a little less, use the pass more to open up the run.
And keep him fresh for the back end of the season. He got 2,005 yards last year, and they needed almost all 2,000 of those 5 yards to get the season that they have. But do they need that same output from him again? And look, the schedule's different. Right? They're playing a much more difficult schedule. So you might have teams that are saying, you're not going to beat us with Saquon Barkley. We're not going to let you do that.
No. And I think with the Eagles, utilizing Saquon a little less is okay, because you saw in that second half, if they go down the field instead of these little dump offs and these little bubble screens, right, they can go win a ball game that way. So I think it's okay if you don't use Saquon as much as you did last year, because you can win other ways. You have a dominant offense and weapons on both sides, right? You have Goddard. You have A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. So you can get those guys involved. Why not utilize them? They're getting paid a lot of money as well, just like Saquon. So it's a very difficult thing to do for Kevin Patullo to get everybody involved. So have an A.J. Brown game. Have a Devontae game. You're going to have those throughout the season, and it's okay for Saquon to take a little bit of a step back.
All right, we got so much more coming. By the way, Phillies lineup is out. And John McMullen, by the way, was brought to you by our friends at Boardwalk Honda. Shop their lineup of new pre-owned and certified pre-owned Hondas online at boardwalkhonda.com. The Sports Bash live on 97.3 ESPN, the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app, and live video streaming on the X platform, YouTube, at Mike Gill Show. The lineup is brought to you by South Jersey's premier HVAC plumbing electrical service provider, Instant Services. Go to instantservices.com. to learn about their preventative maintenance memberships and how they can keep your systems running strong year-round. The lineup for the Phillies tonight, real quick, Bader, Schwarber, Harper, Bohm, Marsh, Realmuto, Castellanos, Stott, Sosa. Aaron Nola goes tonight for the Phillies. Looks like Kepler must still be sick. He left the game last night because of an illness, so he is still out tonight. So Nick Castellanos starts in right field. That should be fun. Watching Nick play right field one more time.
One more time.
Coming back when we return, the outside view, we go to Tampa Bay. My buddy TJ Rives, the sideline reporter for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers radio network. He joins me for the outside view. Tampa, Eagles, coming up next.
I wish he would get a lot more credit for what he's been able to do, not only elevating coaches, but replacing coordinators in the process. And he's been the constant with that. He's been able to continue this team and this organization in a winning path post Bruce Arians. I know a lot of people, especially here in Tampa, had a lot of questions like, man, he didn't succeed when he was at the Jets, the Miami experience. But Coach Arians, he had to leave, with some health conditions. But Coach Bowles stepped in and not only put his stamp on this franchise, but continued to elevate it all these years.
All right, Sports Bash Live, 97.3 ESPN. That was earlier today. Derek Brooks, former Buccaneer, talking about the current head coach, Todd Bowles. Todd Bowles has had Jalen Hurts' number. But does he really have Jalen Hurts' number? The Eagles have been down there in week 4 the last 2 years. They were down there in week 3, and it never seems that they've had a full complement for Jalen Hurts. Now they do. Now they do have a full complement of weapons. A.J. Brown, he will play in the game. Devontae Smith, he will play in the game. And, of course, you can listen to the game right here on 97.3 ESPN. TJ Rives is the sideline reporter for the Tampa Bay Radio Network. And, of course, you can listen to the Eagles and Bucs. We're with Merrill Reese and Mike Quick. And, of course, TJ joins me now for today's Outside View as we take a look at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on the Sports Bash. TJ, what's going on, man? What's up, buddy?
Listen, it's always good to be with you, and I'm supposed to follow the Hall of Famer Derek Brooks. I mean, when D. Brooks speaks, we all listen, Mike Gill. I mean, and what he was saying about Todd Bowles, Bowles is a defensive guy, so there's no doubt. There's no question that Bowles wants the defense to establish itself, especially in a matchup like this with the Eagles. So it will be fascinating to see how all this unfolds. It's not lost on the buildup for this game that it's maybe an early NFC Championship game type preview here today. That's at least some of the buzz in Tampa Bay right now, Mike.
Well, I'm interested in that because obviously you said that's some of the buzz in Tampa. They've had a lot of close games. You actually were on the play-by-play this past week. It came down to the buzzer. 3 weeks to the first team that needed to score in their last possession all 3 times since the merger. But they are 3-0. But it sounds like people down there think this Buccaneers team, they always get a little lost in the sauce in the NFC South.
Yeah, and again, this is kind of an undermanned situation. They had more injuries during the game last week, including Mike Evans going out in the second half of the game with a hamstring injury. So you're talking about not having the full complement. Baker Mayfield's not going to have Mike Evans in the game. We'll get to a couple of injuries that the Bucs hope to be healthier from in a couple of moments, but they find a way. They have found a way. It's amazing how Baker Mayfield has totally changed the narrative on his own career, where he's a cast-off from the Cleveland Browns and a cast-off from the Carolina Panthers, who've done nothing really before or after he's been there. And now here, all the guy has done is win, and win in the clutch over and over and over again. So he will be a big key in this matchup with the Eagles here. Can he make some things happen? And obviously there's a positive reinforcement. Let us not forget, Eagle people, Baker Mayfield and the Bucs knocked you out of the playoffs a couple of years ago on a Monday night in the wild card round. So there have been some positive things that have happened in the past with Mayfield and the Buccaneers against the Eagles.
Again, another game with no A.J. Brown. He did not play in that playoff game.
Brother, the last I checked, you line up with who you have, and they don't put footnotes, and they don't put little addendums that it doesn't count because you didn't have so-and-so or whatever else. You line up and you play the game. I agree. A.J. Brown, if he's not reading his book this week, should be ready to go. Again, I'm still fascinated because you guys can enlighten me more that you've got an NFL player that's so locked in that he has to be on the sideline reading a book about something else. So I don't know about that. But anyway.
About inner excellence, TJ, about inner excellence.
Some of that makes me wonder if you've got the ultimate in focus there, if you're doing that as well. But whatever. I mean, he delivers on the field, so that's the important thing. So he's in there. He was not in there in the regular season game last year that the Buccaneers won. So we'll see. We'll see what this looks like on Sunday. See if the Bucs can try to slow him down. I know the Rams for the first half of the game last week did a good job, but that was only the first half of the game to slow him down.
Well, and also in that game last year, no Devontae Smith and no Lane Johnson. All those guys will be available for the Eagles in the game this Sunday. Who will not be available is Nolan Smith on the defensive side of the ball. And I'm interested to see, what has Tampa excelled in this year with their offense, to kind of make them click.
I think the pass offense has obviously been ahead of the run game. Now, the Bucs offensive line has been in flux. Again, the left tackle, the all-world left tackle, Tristan Wirfs, while we talk about who hasn't been playing, he hasn't played any of the first 3 games. So the Bucs shuffled the offensive line. They moved the starting center, the second-year lineman, Graham Barton, out to left tackle. That's not exactly easy. They moved the left guard to center. They've put a musical chairs of different left guards into the game around them, and yet they've still been effectively able to move the ball, even with a makeshift offensive line. The Buccaneers played a game last week against the New York Jets with 5 different offensive linemen than what they wanted to start the season with. All 5 positions were different, and they still found a way to move the ball effectively and score, as it turns out, 29 points in the game. So it will be, if Tristan Wirfs, who's been practicing, who is, again, the all-pro left tackle, if he is able to play, then what that means is Barton will go back to being the center, and Ben Bredesen, who's been the center, will then become the left guard. So you get a little bit of stability on the left side of the offensive line if Wirfs can come back, but that's probably going to go all the way to a game-time decision on whether he can play for the first time all year since off-season knee surgery.
One guy I want to get your opinion on how the Bucs can handle is Jalen Carter inside. Jordan Davis has played much better this year. What does the interior of that line look like, healthy or not? Because I know they have a lot of musical chairs, as you just chronicled, on the offensive line, but could have some problems regardless blocking those 2 guys.
They had problems blocking Quentin Johnson of the Jets last week. There's no doubt those 2 guys are behemoths and they're studs, and the Bucs are going to have a problem even if the regular starters are in there, with Barton in the middle and Wirfs on the end. So that will be one of the challenges. One of the ways to effectively counteract that is go away from the middle, roll out, use things wide, use the screen game, use the tunnel screen game, where those guys are not as big of a factor in the middle of the defense. So let's see if the Bucs are able to manage that. Again, this is the 3rd consecutive year they've had an offensive coordinator change, where the previous 2 offensive coordinators gotten a head coaching job. 3rd different offensive coordinator in 3 years, and this is Josh Grizzard's situation, first-time play caller. And so far, I think he's done a really good job of mixing things, run with the pass, outside versus inside, screen game, and he's got to be on his game with the Eagles Sunday.
TJ Rives is the sideline voice of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on the Tampa Bay Radio Network. It's the Eagles and Buccaneers this weekend on Sunday, week 4, like always, down in Tampa, like always, 5 straight times the Eagles have been in Tampa against the Buccaneers. Let me get your perspective. You see the Buccaneer defense. Todd Bowles has done a great job. They have handled the Eagles defense. However, as I mentioned, A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith did not play last year. So you can really focus it on Saquon Barkley.
Right.
Do you think that will be their game plan this time around, to say, hey, Barkley is not beating us? TJ, teams have blitzed this team about 48% of the time. They are saying Barkley is not beating us, and he has not gotten off to a great start this year.
Well, and they did a great job on him. Again, Eagles without the receivers, except for the one run play to begin the second half. That's the play where he took off and ran all the way for the touchdown. And it really skewed, there's a word on a Friday, his rushing yards, his yards per attempt on one carry. Again, I understand they all count, but for the rest of the game, they really had contained him before that and after that. And that's what they're going to look at again this week. And Todd Bowles has said it all week, that we have to make Hurts one-dimensional and take away the run game. And so they're going to be focused on that. Levante David in the middle of the Buccaneer defense, the ageless wonder, future Hall of Famer, I believe. He has got 11 seasons of 100 tackles or more. So he had 10 more tackles last week as a 34-year-old. He's going to be a big deal in the middle of this defense for the Buccaneers and shadowing Saquon Barkley some.
All right, TJ, obviously, Jalen Hurts, interesting to get your you're a football guy. You cover, obviously the Buccaneers. You're always with them on game day, but Hurts seems to be a polarizing figure when it comes to how good of a quarterback he is.
Well, and, he can show a Super Bowl ring from last year to anybody that wants to question whether he can get it done. I have a lot of respect for him going back to college because of the attitude he had when Nick Saban went to Tua Tagovailoa at Alabama. And a lot of guys would have pouted, and in the present day, you know this, Mike, they all want to go to the transfer portal and go play somewhere else. This guy loved Alabama that much and wanted to help that much that he continued to work hard as the backup. And he eventually was called upon again in the SEC championship game that year to go back in for Tagovailoa and help them win the SEC title game, or they're never in the playoff. So I don't think there's any questioning the guy's team mentality, team first mentality. And even if his stats aren't the best, I mean, clearly he is a dangerous guy with his legs. He can make plays with his arm. And you look back to the second half last week, they were going nowhere. I mean, the Rams are up 26-7, and they got energized with him throwing the ball. And it was almost like lightning that they were right back in the game. So that's what the Bucs have to be wary of. I have a lot of respect, and I think the Buccaneers do. Their fans absolutely should for what Hurts can bring. He's proved it over and over again, including in the postseason, what he can bring. It's just interesting. The Bucs have had a lot of success against him because you go back even to the 2021 season, which I believe was his rookie year. They beat the Eagles in the regular season. They beat the Eagles with Hurts in the playoffs in both of those games. They've had some wins against Jalen Hurts. There's no doubt.
Yeah, obviously a much different Eagles team. You're right. That was Hurts' second year.
First
year as a starter. First year as a starter, and they did not have A.J. Brown here yet. That was a team that was really surprised that they even made the playoff. That was that was a Brady year where it was kind of like
That's right.
They got pounded by the Bucs in that game. 4-1 versus the Eagles with Jalen Hurts. The one game that the Eagles were full strength, they went down to Tampa and dominated that game. They beat them 25-11 in week 4, I think it was, or week 3 a couple of years ago. So
that was a Monday night game, right? That was a Monday night game, and that was very impressive. And as we always like, I love the back and forth, as we always like to come back. The one that mattered in the wild card round later on in the year, the Bucs won that one.
Oh, listen. The Eagle fans up here are well aware of the problems that they have had down there. It is not an envious game to generally play, and we keep seeing it on the schedule. Why week 4? The Eagles are leaving today at 4:15 to get down there. They're trying to get down there a day early than normal to try to acclimate them. What's the temperature down there?
So today, I mean, it is hot and humid out here today, and this is about where the second half on the time that we're talking right now in this interview. This would be when the second half, the fourth quarter of the game's being played, and it is about 100-degree heat index day today, 92 degrees with the heat index. I will say this, and I've been saying this all week, this is officially in Nick Sirianni's head and Howie Roseman and everybody else that's involved with the Eagles. If they're coming down here a day early, it's hot everywhere. So it's not any less hot right now in Philadelphia. Am I right? It's a 90, and maybe not as humid, but it's a 90-degree area right now in Philadelphia. Am I not wrong about that?
Well, right now you can see me on the video, which we're out at a golf course. We played golf earlier. We're here at a golf course for the Ryder Cup, and it's everybody's playing. It is hot. It is sticky here. And we're talking about 80 degrees. It's only 80 degrees here.
Well, right. Hot is hot. And so we'll just see if this matters some or not. And again, the Buccaneers a lot of the time do not practice in the afternoon in this heat. They practice in the morning and kind of stay away from it. It's still hot in the morning, but not as hot as to not wear your team out. Because if you're in it all the time, you're going to be dead in October, especially November. You're not going to have anything left if you keep practicing in this. So yes, hydrate up, and let's see what this is going to look like on Sunday. It will be a hot, humid day. It's going to easily be on the playing surface like 105, 110 degrees on the playing surface at Raymond James Stadium.
All right, TJ Rives will be on the playing surface, part of the broadcast team for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and he was kind enough to be today's outside view on the Sports Bash on 97.3 ESPN. TJ, thanks so much, man.
Always good to be with you, my friend. Let's see what happens with the Bucs and the Eagles, and we run it back again. Here we go.
Week 4. All right, brought to you by Broadlee's, your trusted source for heating and plumbing service and installation for generations. Call 609-390-3907. Online, broadlees.net. That is this week's Outside View from Tampa Bay, where he says it's over 100 degrees on the field. Go to Tampa. We can get a quick flight from Allegiant right after the show today.
Go right down there, right?
Right down. He'll
Right
fly
down.
us right to St. Petersburg. Or go to Spirit right to Tampa.
Now, is this a scheduled loss? Is this going to be a scheduled loss? That's
I don't
the
think
question.
so. No, they got – listen,
Because
we
the
talked about it,
injuries.
and I know TJ was diplomatic when talking about, hey, you can only play with who you show up with. He's right. Well, this time they're showing up with more ammunition, right? They're showing up with more ammunition this time around.
A.J. Brown didn't play last time around. Devontae. I mean, all these guys. Lane Johnson was out last time in Tampa Bay, right?
Johnson, Smith,
Yep.
Brown, all did not play in the game down there in Tampa last year. That's a big deal. I know he's saying, hey, you can only show with who's up. He's right about that. And they beat the Eagles, who were a little shorthanded. Now, when we come back, it's our unsportsmanlike moment of the day. We got that plus football at 4. Andrew DiCecco. We'll look at all the matchups that he's looking at. Knicks Nuggets today. How did we do on the Harbor Pines golf course? It's not going to be a good segment for Nuggets today. That and Sal Paolantonio tonight at 5 o'clock for a Sal Pal Friday. Don't go away. Sports Bash is live from the Roost. Now, if you're looking for a place to watch the Phillies tonight, stop inside the Roost. Grab yourself a little dinner. The food has been excellent. They've been bringing us the food. Nuggets had himself a nice cheesesteak. Pete G went with the flatbread pizza. Now, I highly recommend those flatbread pizzas. I've had them a bunch here at the Roost at Harbor Pines in Egg Harbor Township.
Do I think Nick Sirianni is an elite coach in this league? I do not.
What more would you like him to do?
Go back to back. If you go back to back, then it's not just about the talent on the field. If you go back to back, then it's about the head coach being able to set the agenda and being able to push those guys to do things that they don't want to do so they can get to where they want to go. Getting there is hard. Staying there is harder.
That's our unsportsmanlike moment of the day. Chris Canty said that this morning. It's brought to you by Whitehorse RV. Find fall closeout savings on 2025s and select pre-owned RV. Shop now before they're gone at Whitehorse RV. Your RV adventure starts here. Now, Canty, I mean, listen, I love you, brother, but that's an asinine take.
Bad take.
I mean, you can't tell me the only thing the guy could do to win you over is win the freaking Super Bowl again. Are we kidding ourselves here? That's it?
He wants Andy Reid or Bill Belichick.
Well, listen. Yes, those guys won back-to-backs. However, Nick beat Andy.
Yeah.
Nick has beaten Andy in the Super Bowl. You can't just be some schleprock, walk into the Super Bowl as a head coach, and defeat Andy Reid. The fact that he has beaten Andy Reid is the answer to the quiz, that he outfoxed Andy. He was able to beat Andy Reid in the Super Bowl.
And then beat him again.
Listen, beat him this year again, correct.
Yep.
Beat him last year, 2 years ago in the regular season, in a year where they had a disastrous ending. Listen, Chris Canty, I can't wait till we get to Radio Row because we're going to have this mano-a-mano here,
Yes.
Canty. If Nick Sirianni never had the ending to the 2023 season, and let's just say that year they lost to the Buccaneers in the playoffs. Let's just say they had a 10-7 season. The wins were all placed differently, and they just went 10-7, and they lost to the Buccaneers on the road in the playoffs. After they went to the Super Bowl the year before, you would say, hey, listen, you're bound to have a come-down after winning the Super Bowl the one year. He takes that team after losing in the first round of the playoffs in the wild card and wins the Super Bowl. If that's not enough to tell you, hey, he's an elite coach in this league, you're looking at it from an X and O standpoint. The league has evolved and changed. It's not about the X's and O's anymore. It's about setting the culture. And the Eagles have a better culture than everybody else in football, led by Nick Sirianni. DiCecco, Football at 4 is next. Football at 4, powered by the Inside the Birds podcast, brought to you by the Fanatics Sportsbook at Ocean Casino Resort in Atlantic City. We'll be there on Monday. Today we're live at the Roost in Egg Harbor Township. Yes, a lot of people inside hanging out and having a nice cold one, watching the Ryder Cup. That's how everybody got their day started. We started on the golf course here. Now we're at football at 4 as the Eagles are, I believe, Andrew, their flight is to Tampa in 15 minutes. They are leaving for Tampa early this year to try to do something a little different. As Andrew DiCecco from the Inside the Birds podcast joins us for a Football at 4 Friday edition. Welcome back, Andrew. What's up, my man? All good, and obviously you've seen this team practicing all this week, ready for this Tampa Bay game, and the big thing has been the loss of Nolan Smith. So you have any feel on how they are going to kind of compensate for him not being out on the field, who replaces those snaps, and how they kind of try to replace him?
Well, Azeez Ojulari would make the most sense from a pass rushing standpoint. They have Patrick Johnson and Obo Okoronkwo there as well, who Azeez Ojulari and Obo have played a lot of snaps in the NFL before. So I think it would behoove the Eagles to stockpile some depth there, given the heat and the conditions that they're going to be up against. So last week they sat Patrick Johnson. He wasn't active despite him being a special team stalwart. So it wouldn't surprise me to see Ojulari and potentially Okoronkwo active for the first time this season, just to give them more depth in the rotation.
How big of I know losing Smith, big deal. He's probably their best pass rusher, but how important is he to what Vic Fangio likes to make his defense really work?
I mean, he's really important. And I'm not one to box score watch. And I know for some who may, you see the lack of stats, the lack of production there in that area. And that maybe colors your perception, but make no mistake about it. Nolan Smith is a tenacious, physical run defender. He sets the edge, and he just continues to grow and evolve in his role and become more comfortable. And I've seen refinement in his game as a pass rusher. Now that's a big loss, especially when he was sort of fronting that unit. And I believe that he's a player, the more he plays, the better he gets. And you would have seen more production over the next, few games. But unfortunately for him, he's going to be sidelined for a while. And it's going to be up to the others to step up. But this is why the Eagles have stockpiled depth there. And you look at it and you say they have 7 edge rushers. Well, not that you can forecast injuries, but they kept players who they believe in. And eventually your time's going to come. And Nick Sirianni always talks about how everyone's role isn't the same, but it's vitally important to the success of the football team. And you have to be ready when your number's called.
Andrew DiCecco is with us on a Friday edition of Football at 4. Let's look at the Eagles offense real quick because, the last time they played Tampa, and many times they played Tampa, it seems that they're shorthanded. A.J. Brown missed last year's game. Devontae Smith last year's game. Lane Johnson missed last year's game. A.J. Brown missed the wild card game. So they have not had A.J. in a couple of these games. So do we anticipate A.J. Brown playing in the game being a factor in this game after we finally saw them get him going in the back end of last week's game?
Well, yeah, he's going to play, and I think he's going to be the X factor in this game because I do envision the Eagles becoming a little bit more aggressive and trying to open things up, using the pass to set up the run, which is a little bit different. But A.J. Brown has a good matchup, whether he's going up against Zion McMullen, who, of course, is the twin brother of former Eagles safety Tristan McCollum, or on the other side, Jamel Dean. I believe that he's going to be someone that they're going to call upon early in this one. And you saw what he was able to do against the Rams. You get him the ball, even on a short completion, and he can impose his will on defenders. And that sort of reinvigorates, I would say, and that kind of passion and toughness radiates throughout the whole offense and throughout the whole sideline, really. So he can get them going with the big play early.
Andrew, what are you seeing in the run game with Barkley? Is this, teams are just defending them differently than they did a year ago? Is it something with the offensive line up front? Is this a week they get that going?
Well, I mean, the offensive line hasn't necessarily played to their normal standard. I think that's fair to say, but they're still playing at an acceptable level, above average level, I would say. Kevin Patullo spoke about, trying to do different things to create space for Saquon Barkley. I think a big part of that would be maybe moving away from the heavy dose of 12 personnel and using some 11 personnel to spread teams out and, create more space, but also have some more optionality there. That's something that I think is fair to say. And then there was points in that Rams game later where you have to wonder if maybe Saquon was pressing a little bit, wasn't necessarily hitting the hole with the same authority that he always does, trying to look like he might have been trying to hit a home run and make a big play there. So I think it's just they're going to have to make a concerted effort. It's not any one area that you can pinpoint. It's just going to take a collective to get this thing rolling.
Andrew, when you look at the matchup here, they're 3-0. Philadelphia's 3-0. Both teams have kind of scratched and clawed their ways to wins here, right? I mean, we talked earlier with someone from Tampa who covers the Buccaneers, and he said, look, they think they match up well with Philadelphia. When you look at this matchup for the Eagles, where's there something that concerns you about this team? Because we know that Todd Bowles has been very good against the Eagles, but the flip side of that is the Eagles generally haven't been at full strength here. So what is something you're looking at in this game with 2 3-0 teams?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the unscattered looks that you have to account for. And Todd Bowles is going to be super aggressive. He's going to throw different things at you, and that's where pass protection becomes paramount. If you want to get your offense off the ground, they have to be better at blocking that up, and that includes Saquon Barkley and pass protection. So that's the one area that I think you look at outside of the humid conditions that sometimes can be the equalizer. The Eagles are, of course, going out there a day early, and we'll see if that helps them at all. But I think you factor in the conditions and the attack style defense that Todd Bowles likes to deploy, and he's had the Eagles number. That's been a house of horrors for the team. Those are the two elements I think that could be a factor.
All right, real quick, Adoree Jackson, I just got the injured list sent to me here. We are on location today, out on location. So I just got the injury list sent to me. Adoree Jackson, limited. He is
he's
doubtful.
Doubtful. Yeah, he's doubtful for the game. Yeah,
doubtful for the game. Is this? I guess no Bennett either. Is Kelee Ringo the guy?
Well, he would be the guy. He's next up. Mac McWilliams is more of a nickel corner. He's cross-trained outside, but he's really a nickel corner by trade. And Kelee Ringo, he's next man up. I had a chance to talk to him. I wrote a story about Kelee Ringo on InsideTheBirds.com. Really confident. It never really wavered. He was able to see the game from a different perspective. Adoree Jackson today spoke about how he's noticed Keelee's attention to detail, asking questions, and he's a confident player. Now it's just about going out there and executing, because Baker Mayfield will be aware of where Kelee Ringo is on the field at all times. Should Adoree Jackson not be in the lineup, but obviously if he's listed as doubtful, it doesn't seem all that likely. It seemed like it could be a day of type of thing with Jackson based on what he said and testing out the groin and seeing how his body responded from doing work the previous day. But it seems like it's going to be Kelee Ringo who's in line to start.
Okay, and they did activate Perry Nickerson, and Eli Ricks is on the practice squad. So obviously they were anticipating this being a possibility. He's Andrew DiCecco,
Yep.
Football at 4 from the Inside the Birds podcast. It is the Eagles and the Buccaneers, week 4 again in steamy Tampa. Our Tampa correspondent tells us expect temperatures to hit 105 on the field on Sunday. You can listen to the game right here on 97.3 ESPN. Andrew, thanks, buddy.
Thanks, man.
All right, there's Andrew, Football at 4, powered by the Fanatic Sportsbook at Ocean Casino Resort in Atlantic City. I think you take a look at what he just talked about there. No Adoree Jackson. Is there a week where you could imagine, oh, my God, we want Adoree Jackson to play? Or would you rather Adoree Jackson or Kelee Ringo? Now, they are banged up in the secondary as well, too. I mean, in the at wide receiver. Yes. Mike Evans is out. And Chris Godwin hasn't played in quite some time, as John McMullen brought up earlier. Godwin hasn't played in a while. He's been hurt a lot for Tampa Bay.
Yeah, I think this is a week where, Jacorian Bennett could get an opportunity, right, with Adoree Jackson being a limited participant in practice. Seems like he's not going to play. And, the thing with Bennett is he has been a little banged up this year, and that's the reason he was traded. Yeah. So that's, so he's out. So he's out. He's out as well.
Jacorian Bennett, yep.
By the way, is Ringo.
Andrew DiCecco reported yesterday that the injury was a pectoral injury for Jacorian
For Bennett?
Yep. So that's usually the pectoral injury is not fun. Those are rough to come back from. Because he's a guy, we've had Q Myers on a lot, who covers the Raiders as one of his teams that he covers, Q Myers from Game Night on 97.3 ESPN. One of the things that we have talked about with him is because he had Bennett in Vegas the last couple of years. He said he thought that he would be but he always gets hurt. That was always his thing, is that he's their best corner in Vegas, but he's always hurt. Yes,
undersized, always gets hurt. The one thing I will say, I mean, Baker Mayfield, the guy is a gunslinger, right? I mean, he is not afraid of the moment. We've seen this season already 3 game-winning drives in 3 games for Baker, and you know what? He's really kind of revitalized his career. He bounced around the league, top pick.
Yeah. What did somebody said the other day about? I don't know. He was in Carolina, and he said it. He said, "Yeah, the defensive coordinator cut me down there."
Right.
Yeah.
Then he went to L.A. and the rest is history. Yeah.
All right. We are at the Roost today, and we had a great time all day. We were golfing earlier today, so we're going to transition to Tim Donovan from the Harbor Pines, the golf course here, the Roost, who have had us out today. Now, he was on hand to watch our display of golf. So we want an impartial ruling on how lousy Nick was versus how good I was. Were you surprised based on what you had heard previously? The pregame information you had gotten.
Yeah, from the scouting report we received, Mike was just unbelievable today. You know, little rough to start.
Whoa! I came out of the chutes good.
Well, did I make up for it on 9? I thought I made up for it completely the whole day. We have to throw away every 8 hole, 1 through 8, 9. That's where if you showed up.
Handicap hole on the course. Nick comes out, pipes one down the middle.
Yeah.
Mike hits the approach just short, green side bunker on the front. Didn't make it to the bunker, which was good. Then Nick chips it up, and putted for par.
Well, I had told him beforehand. I said, "Listen, they were kind enough to invite us to say, you guys want to play golf before the show today?" And I said, "Yeah, sure, we'll come out and play." I said, "But I don't need to play any more than 9. I stink. Okay, like I don't want to ruin my day." And I come out, and on the first hole, I crank one. And I'm like, okay. And then I progressively continued to just keep hitting good shots. I was like, this. Now, I said one of my producers wants to come out because he likes to play. He's good. What did he do on the first hole? Strike 1, strike 2.
But then I didn't strike out, to say the least.
No.
Didn't totally strike out.
I think he actually foul-tipped the first.
I don't even know about that.
Yeah.
It was bad.
Couple misses, and I'm like, oh, my God, I told him I was bad. Then they saw him swing and miss. I'm like,
it was rough.
Yeah.
It was a rough day today. I didn't get going until about 8 or 9.
It was hot. It's late September. They're not used to being this warm out. Maybe we'll give them the benefit of the day.
It was hot out. However, you got Ryder Cup all weekend. Now, you're going to the Ryder Cup.
Yeah, we leave tonight, actually, driving up there, staying about 13 miles from the course, and then we'll be there bright and early tomorrow morning, and then we're going back Sunday, too.
So this whole Ryder Cup experience that you're going to, you told me you've never been to a golf event, and this is the first one you're going to?
This is it. I'm setting the bar pretty high.
Yeah.
From what I hear.
50. So apparently they're anticipating 50,000 a day.
Yeah.
That will be there at Bethpage. And now the difference between a regular golf event and Ryder Cup is you can proliferate through 18 holes and watch like a foursome play. Here they're only using 4 holes at a time. So you got 50,000 people bottlenecked into those 4 holes.
Yeah, yeah. And some people sit at the grandstands just waiting for the hole that they are there to see. But, luckily we're getting to go 2 days, so we're going to kind of peruse the course with the groups on the first day, and then we'll probably pick out a spot. And
you got an outfit picked?
We do have outfits picked out, matching outfits. We got the USA pants and
is that a big eagle on the shirt?
Big eagle across the chest, and then top hat and a cape. Yeah, we got
cape.
Wait, I didn't know about the top hat. You got the cape too?
Yeah.
Oh,
big American flag cape. Yeah, we're ready to go.
So now, Chris, the pro, was not professional against me anyway.
No, he definitely.
Mike thinks he was like amazing today.
Yeah, you ever see how bad I normally am?
I said, better than usual.
Everybody says, "How'd you golf today?" Best day I've ever had.
Yeah.
So I'm riding on a high right now. I was
good.
There wasn't one shot where I was like, maybe one. Not where I was like, at least I hit it in the air.
Well, the course conditions out here at Harbor Pines, I mean, how can it go wrong,
Well, I said, when someone hears how bad I am and know that I played well here, this is where you want to play
Yes.
if you think you stink.
That's right.
Now, if you're really good like you guys, now he was really good. Chris was,
Yeah, I mean,
Chris is awesome.
I can make a couple good shots here and there.
You
but
had
Chris-
a good day too, but he
Chris
was
is, Chris
really
is
good.
next level. Yeah.
So tell everybody listening about the course, the roost, everything that's happening here. Because I told you before, we come here all the time. My girlfriend and I, we eat. We had lunch here on Saturday. But great spot to watch sports games. All the college football this weekend. The Eagles, you got the Phillies playoffs coming up. But for people, you guys are rather new.
Right.
So when people say, "Hey, go to the roost," where's that? Give everybody the information
Yes.
that they need to know.
So we're right off Ocean Heights in Egg Harbor Township. We used to just have the grill room as part of the banquet services and stuff here, but we opened up the Roost 2 years ago. It's kind of a pub feel to it. We got sports on all the time. We're not just a golf course, so we like to try to pump up the Roost a little bit. But the fact is that we are a golf course and our course is in great condition. We have memberships available, just released this week. New members, as soon as you sign up, your membership goes through February 2027. We have some early bird specials for returning members to get them locked in. We sold out a couple different membership tiers last year, so the earlier you get in, the better, and you can start reaping those membership benefits right away.
Weddings,
definitely. Bar mitzvahs.
Parties, man.
Parties, anything.
This
Yeah.
is a great party room. The Roost is a great room. The indoor, we're outside right now, which is a great deck out here.
Yep.
If you want to come outside, but the room inside is a great spot for, watching games. They got a great setup. The TVs are very visible from all over the place. That's always key. Got live music tonight too,
Yep.
and generally have live music and other events during the week.
Yeah, we do bingo trivia on Tuesdays. We do regular trivia night on Thursdays. We have live music on Fridays. You mentioned the banquet room. We just got re-renovated. It's a completely new space in there. A little dated last year, but now we're up to snuff. So, we'd like to invite anybody to come out, check us out, and hopefully we'll see you out here.
Yeah, Ryder Cup all weekend. They've got a Ryder Cup menu special for the Ryder Cup. I'm looking at, you had that Italian sub earlier, and I was kind of envious of that sub.
Yeah, it was legit.
I was envious of that sub. He actually, Peachy, ended up getting the spinach and cherry tomato flatbread, which looked awesome as well. You got a caprese burger, got a chicken parm dinner. So if you want to come out for Ryder Cup all weekend long, Eagles on Sunday, Penn State is tomorrow night. Phillies tonight, 6 o'clock. Great spot to catch first pitch, 6:05. That's going to be happening soon here. Well, enjoy yourself at the Ryder Cup, man. We're all pretty envious of that.
We'll have some fun, hopefully.
I would imagine so.
Nice little comeback, hopefully.
Is it still 3-1?
So, yeah, it's 2-2 right now.
Oh,
I think,
yeah?
Last time I checked. But so hopefully we end the day 5-3, only down 2. Big comeback weekend.
All right. Well, let's see that all unfold. You can watch it all here this weekend at the Roost in Egg Harbor Township right here at Harbor Pines. And we thank you for, first off, letting us golf. That was great. And the course, as you mentioned, was excellent. Awesome condition until Nick started hitting.
Oh, come on.
How many divots
Come on.
are out there now?
Figured it out on 9. Come on.
He's a gentleman. He places divots. I saw him.
All right, Tim. Thanks, man. All right, everybody. Check out the Roost. And we'll be here till 6. So if you want to look for something to do for dinner tonight and watch the Phillies game, stop on out. On your way here, the Sports Bash is live outside on the deck at the Roost. And we got the Nuggets up next.
Oh, yeah. Ton of them. I got a ton of them.
A ton of Nuggets on the way. All right, that's coming up on the Sports Bash Live on 97.3 ESPN. And at 5 o'clock, Sal Paolantonio will join us here on the Sports Bash. Don't miss it. So much more to go. Eagles, Bucs, Phillies final weekend, Sixers media day. But next, the Nuggets on 97.3 ESPN. All right, we're live at the Roost, everybody. What's going on a Friday? It's a happy hour Friday, by the way. What is everybody having this weekend? Text in now, 609-403-0973. Let us know what you're having this weekend. You know what they have on tap here?
What's that?
Fiddlehead.
Where's that from?
Vermont.
Oh, wow.
You think you're going to try to stick one past me there? I wasn't going to
I
know.
thought I could.
They
Catch
have
him on the spot.
they have a Fiddlehead inside. They also
That
have
was pretty good.
a Hidden Sands 107, which I think is called the Roost IPA or something. Maybe something, I don't know, but they've got that inside. They got a whole bunch. Like the beer menu here is really, diverse. They got and what is that? What were you drinking over there?
A pumpkin.
A caramel pumpkin
Yes,
beer.
pumpkin flavored. Yep.
Happy Hour Friday. Fiddlehead inside. Caramel pumpkin beer.
And we do have a band.
By the way,
setting up here,
Chris
yeah.
Yoder's band is coming on in. They're going to be playing
Look
at
at
6:30 tonight. You can listen to those guys 6:30 in the Roost. And the Super Bowl trophy's here, too. So if you want to – this guy has an Eagles shirt on. You can get your picture taken with the Super Bowl trophy. Everybody's welcome to do so. Come on over. All right, time for the Nuggets. They're brought to you by The Hub, gear that works as hard as you do. Nick Earnshaw is the host of the Shift podcast. He is the producer of The Locker Room. He was hosting The Locker Room tomorrow,
Tomorrow,
though.
yeah.
10 to 12. Billy is off tomorrow. Nick will be hosting The Locker Room. And, of course, you can check him out on Earnshaw Radio on all the social platforms.
Yeah, absolutely. We got a few nuggets to go through today, and we're going to start with the fight-ins today. By the way, they played 6:45 tonight. I wanted to make sure.
6:45.
6:45 tonight, back to normal time. So,
6:05, I think they play Saturday.
Yes.
And
then
yesterday.
Last night was
Why'd they
6:05,
play
yeah.
yesterday so early?
I don't know. Did you know the reason? I don't know why they picked 6:05
It's like a weird, getaway day?
Well, it was good because
It
they
was
had the
getaway
delay.
day for Miami, yeah.
Probably, yep. That's probably why.
Well, normally the Thursday or Wednesday games, like getaway day, is like a day game, not a 6 o'clock.
Yeah. So they only started 40 minutes early yesterday. But it helped out because they went into a delay, but the Phillies ended up winning, and they have one more series to go before the NLDS. And I want to talk about one guy they're going to be getting back. You don't know if it's going to be this weekend. Still no word on it yet, but you'll get him back for the playoffs, and that is Trey Turner. He said, quote, "I really don't feel anything anymore. Grounders feel 100%. Live at bats feel 100%. It's just getting to that sprint speed and feeling like I can let it go and not think about it." Now, remember, it is a grade 1 strain of the hamstring that he is dealing with this year. He dealt with a more serious one last year. They're going to get him back for the postseason. Now, I also want to point this out. He is still up 0.05 percentage points in the NL batting title race. He's batting .305. Nico Horner is the only one that can really catch him. He is batting .300.
He just homered today, by the way.
Yeah, so he's the only one that could get him.
You don't
at
get more
this point.
percentage points for that, though.
No, you don't. But I figured I would point that out.
There you go. I'm just saying.
Fair.
He did hit one over the fence, okay?
If you hit a home run, your batting average goes up 2 points.
There you go. So Turner's sitting at .305. Now, if you're Trey, they're going to get him back, and we'll discuss that and talk about getting him back into the lineup and what we expect out of him in the postseason. But is it smart not to play health-wise and batting title-wise throughout the rest
Well,
of the
I don't care about the batting title.
I want to know
thing.
your opinion, though.
Yeah.
Because, he's leading it, and it's close.
It would be the first Philly to win the batting title ever.
Ashburn. Richie Ashburn
Okay,
was the last one.
since Ashburn then.
Yep.
Okay. I knew it was either ever or a long time.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
That I don't care about. But I am, 1958, Josh says, I am a little bit conflicted here. I don't want him to get hurt, but I would like to see him play just to prove that he's okay. Like, I don't want him going out in game 1 of the playoffs. He's the leadoff hitter, bottom of the first inning, hits a ball in the gap, circles second base because he hasn't done this in a game. Now, I know he's going to play Wednesday. They're going to have an inter-squad game.
Inter-squad, yes.
So he'll probably get – but
Is that enough?
I wouldn't mind seeing him play this weekend.
Would you even consider DHing him, like taking Schwarber out at all? If Schwarber gets the record,
that's not bad, actually.
If
Well,
Schwarber gets
would
the
you
record,
rather Schwarber gets the record or see Turner play?
Yeah, get him at bats.
Schwarber's got a homer tonight, you would think, right? I mean, if he doesn't homer tonight, the chances of him homering.
Well, he hit 2 in a game the other night.
I understand
he hit
that.
4 in a game a couple weeks ago.
He's got 3 games to do it.
I understand all those facts, but it would be very unlikely if he gets that record if he doesn't homer.
Tonight would be helpful.
He's got a homer tonight.
Oh, Mick Abel's pitching tomorrow.
Oh.
Maybe he could hit 4 homers off that guy.
I believe I'm going tomorrow as well. I believe I'm going tomorrow.
Are you?
Yes,
Oh,
to
you
the
get to see
game. So
McAble
maybe,
then.
I'll see McAble pitch for the Minnesota Twins. He was part of that Joan Duran trade.
Yeah. Now, last night, Duran got warmed up before the rain delay. And then when the rain delay came back, they put Robertson to warm up. And they said, no, Duran, you don't get the $15 experience.
Oh, God, here we go. $15.
Yeah. If Duran warms up,
Squeezing everybody, Mike Gill
does that
over
count?
here. All right, by the way, with Trey Turner, I mentioned Nico Horner. He's the second guy in the NL batting title race. There is nobody even close to 300. Freddie Freeman's batting 293. He is third in the NL batting title. What does that say about the state of hitting right now, Mike, at this point, that Turner's going to win probably with a 305 batting average?
Well, it is. The game has changed. Hembo was on yesterday. I don't know if you heard that segment with Hembo when he was talking about that the Schwarber season is better than the Ryan Howard season.
Yep.
Ryan Howard that year hit .313 with a .425 on base percentage. He had 58 homers. He had 149 RBIs. And Hembo is saying that because of how things have changed, that the Schwarber season is actually better. It's really hard to convince me that Schwarber, whose batting average is about 250, not even. And listen, I get it. Slug, OPS, on base, they're all more important than they used to be. And batting average is not as important as it used to be. However, Howard hasn't beaten every one of those categories. He had a better OPS. He had a better slug. He has a better on-base percentage. Everything, batting average. So across the board, Howard's numbers were completely better than Schwarber's. But the state of hitting right now is pretty sad. To have a guy hit 300 and he's the best guy you got in the whole league, it's bad. Now,
Tony Gwynn would bat 304, and that'd be a down year for that guy.
Now, I will say this. In the American League, there's 6 guys over 300 at the moment. There's only 2 in the National League. That's 8. It's 8 total guys batting over 300 in all of baseball. That's where you're at right now. And Turner, if he was in the American League, he'd be, I think, 4th in the American League.
By the way, Tony Gwynn's lowest batting average, his last year hit 324. 323, 338, 321, 372, 353, 368, 394, 358, 317, 317, 309, 336, 313, 370, 329, 317, 351, 309. And his rookie year, when he played 54 games, he hit 289.
Yeah,
that's the lowest average he ever had.
309 was the lowest average
in a full season.
And Turner could win the batting title with 305.
Yeah.
What does that say? The game has changed, essentially.
The game has changed, and I don't know what to make of it. I don't know if to say, hey, if you're someone who's teaching hitting now and these are your disciples, should you be embarrassed? Or I don't know what to make of it. We're talking about a league where nobody can hit.
But we also have to recognize pitching has gotten much better, too.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know how to take this.
Is that what changed? Is that what has changed about the league? Is the pitching?
With guys throwing harder, I will say that.
The pitchers throw harder, and their stuff's nasty.
Yeah.
They got guys throwing 102 with stuff that, they're making up names for pitches. I love how people – you throw a sinker, and the ball is up over your letters, and it doesn't move anywhere.
Yeah.
And no one can just say it's a fastball.
No.
He's
it's
just
sinker.
throwing a fastball. Nope, he's throwing a sinker.
Like Walker Buehler has 7 different pitches.
Every kid I talk to, 13 years old, what pitches do you throw? 2-seamer, 4-seamer, curveball, slider, change up.
No, sweeper, not slider. Sweeper now. Remember,
Well,
sweeper.
I didn't get to that yet. Sweeper, knuckle curve. I'm like, no, you don't, kid. You throw 2 pitches. They're both fastballs, and then pick another one, right?
Pick a changeup, would you?
So I don't know what to make of it, really. The game has changed. I don't know if it's good, better, worse. I think the pitchers have better stuff. They throw harder. But I don't think they're as good at pitchers, if that makes any sense.
I know exactly what you're trying to say. It's like the stuff is nastier, they're throwing harder, but they're not pitching better.
Could you imagine if they knew how to pitch?
Yes, like guys like Ranger, that's like a pitcher, right? He's hitting his spots, he's controlling, he doesn't throw 100 miles an hour. Those are the guys who are pitchers. Some of these guys, it just feels like they're throwing, right? They're throwing 99, 100. They're just throwing, they're out of control. That's what has changed. The stuff is nasty. Like when you have a Joan Duran throwing 103 and then coming back with like a 90-mile-an-hour curveball that he leaves hanging every once in a while. Yeah. that's nice and all, but you want to hit your spots, right? You're not pitching anymore. It feels like you're just throwing. Most of the guys.
And hitters, though, their approach, I think, has gotten worse.
Oh, yeah, they're launch
different.
Angle.
It's different, right.
The approach has definitely changed. It's all now like, now you started to see it change a little because a couple of years ago it was all launch angle, home runs or nothing. It was like if you don't hit a home run, it basically you're wasting your at bat. You know what I mean? Like now, like I don't know. I feel like
has the batting title lost its luster? Because we don't care about average anymore.
These guys hit 60 home runs a season. I think so.
I would say a lot of the baseball numbers have lost their luster because of the steroid era, where the home run number used to be a chase. Now I don't even know what to get excited about. Guy hits 60, you're still 12 home runs off of what Bonds did. So I don't know what to make of any of these baseball numbers. The batting title, I mean, a 305 batting champion is embarrassing. Like I'd turn it over and be like, I'm a joke. Like seriously,
give the award back.
Right? Hey, Trey Turner, you won the batting title with a 305 batting average. I'd be like, Tony Gwynn's rolling around right now saying, I am not worthy of this. I mean, what's the lowest batting title?
I can look that up.
Batting average. What's the lowest batting average for a batting title? Like,
I mean, the fact that Turner's been on the IL for the last 2 weeks and he's still in the lead. It
would be one thing if he was hitting 350.
Right, and he's only batting 305.
So the lowest batting title ever, batting average, 301 by Yastrzemski in 68.
Okay, so that's
lowest ever.
That's a while back, and 301 is pretty low.
And they were considering that the year of the pitcher, right? So 68, 301.
So there's a reason.
And pitching is just it's harder to hit this nasty stuff, or guys are walking more, right? More inclined to have the launch angle swing, to try and hit more home runs, hit more for power. You don't see a ton of guys anymore like a Luis Ariz who are trying to hit for average and getting on base.
Yes.
Well, we talk about this all the time. It makes you sound like an old dude, but you mentioned Tony Gwynn. Okay, what would Tony Gwynn be in the game? Like the guys we used to have all these lefties that were like these left-handed, sweet swinging first baseman, but didn't hit for a lot of power, like Mark Grace, Wally Joyner. Like these guys, there was a bunch of these guys all spread out throughout the league. They were lefties that all hit like 330 and just were not big power hitters.
No.
But they were considered like some of the best hitters. Will Clark was another guy. Don Mattingly was another guy. Mattingly had a little bit. He wasn't like a 45 home.
John Olerud, maybe.
Yeah. John Olerud was another good one. Who high batting average, not a lot of power, but they were littered all throughout baseball of guys who were these sweet swinging, left-handed, non-power first basemen. And you're thinking, in today's game, a guy hitting 313 with like 13 home runs, you'd be like, well, what is this guy? Has no power.
He's good. But...
Well, you're looking at a guy almost like. Almost like today's version of that guy is like Alec Boehm.
Yeah.
A guy who hits like 280 with like 15 homers is like that generation's version of like Wally Joyner.
Yeah. And by the way, that 68 year, Bob Gibson had a 1.12 ERA. So that was the year why it was so low. But yeah, Turner's right there with Yastrzemski is one of the lowest ever to win a batting title. All right, let's move along. Nugget number 2. How could I not talk about the 76ers today? It's media day, so we get to hear from all the 76ers. Not much given today, but I do want to play something from Paul George. Maybe you'll get excited. You know, Podcast P always has a liner every once in a while. Listen to Podcast P today during Sixers Media Day.
The Paul George that the 76ers went out and signed. I do think I still got a lot of game in me. Playing at a high level, like that's still who I am. I got to get healthy to get to that point, but I won't be, I don't think, a part of camp going into it, but I do have a voice in being a part of the team to help the young guys and you know, kind of touch that point early on into the season to start out.
So, Paul George, I don't know if you caught the beginning. I'm the Paul George. We love.
It's a hot take,
yeah,
huh?
He said, I'm the Paul George that the 76ers went out and signed, which is, you know, interesting to say the least. And now he's going to be a mentor to these guys. And you sign into a max contract. I don't need Paul George to be a mentor. I need him to be on the court and helping this team win games. Now, he doesn't need to be a first option. He doesn't need to be a second option. Put a third or fourth option, giving you something out there. That's what you need out of Paul George this year. That quote was just I just can't take
The whole day was frustrating not to hear, hey, we're going to be at full strength and we're going to be ready to go when the season starts. I'm not asking you to say, hey, Paul George is going to be in Abu Dhabi playing 40 minutes against the Knicks next week, or that Joel's going to be in Abu Dhabi. By the way, for people who don't know what the Abu Dhabi reference is, they are playing 2 preseason games next week, the second and it's a Thursday and Saturday, a noon game and 11 a.m. game. I don't expect these guys to be in Abu Dhabi playing in the preseason games, ramping up, ready to go.
No.
But it was a little disheartening. And I'm somebody who's generally pretty positive. Like, hey, if the season hasn't started yet, I'm not going to sit here and say you're not healthy. Let me see you get healthy when the season starts, and then I'll judge you. But the fact that he's not ready to go on to practice tomorrow or when's training camp open?
So I also want to add this, though, before we continue.
Over the weekend,
I want to add this. According to Shams Charania on NBA Today, Jared McCain is expected to undergo thumb surgery and will miss around 4 to 6 weeks. That's how much time he's looking to miss.
So 4 to 6 weeks is stomachable. Is that a word?
Yeah, because you're only going to miss
puts him out for the opener.
Yeah, for a couple weeks early on, and then you get him back. So that's not bad.
4 weeks would be right about the opener.
Yeah, right about then. Yeah. So you'll take that with Jared McCain, but it's like, we're starting already.
The Jared McCain thing is very disheartening because I was excited for McCain to see how he would fit in with everybody healthy. He was such a joy to watch last year, 38% from 3, 15 points a game, and we got robbed of seeing what his full season would have looked like. So now you miss him in training camp. You don't get to see him in training camp, kind of how he mixes in with Embiid and George and Maxey, BJ Edgecombe. That one's is
it hurts. And
it's just another setback.
You know what's interesting too? We were talking about how many guards the 76ers have. How is Nick Nurse going to rotate these guys, right? With Maxey, McCain, Edgecombe, Grimes. Well, Grimes still isn't signed. That's apparently going to be resolved next couple of days, according to Daryl Morey. And now you have McCain, so you're down to Edgecombe and Maxey, so you don't have that rotation yet.
Grimes doesn't have a lot of options here.
No, I don't know what's going on with that. But does he have leverage now? Like we
talked about this the other day.
Yeah.
He averages, outside of Philadelphia, he averages about 10 points a game. He came to Philly and scored 21 points a game. He's now asking for a contract commensurate with what he did in Philly, not what he did in Dallas. Listen, dude. I get it. You had a great run here, but you were also playing on a team where you were the guy. So now you're asking for all the money of the best player on the team when you are now getting pushed back down the line of importance. You're not going to be playing minutes ahead of all these guys anymore. You're going to be part of it, and we want you to be a part of this. I think the best thing for him is take the deal they offered him yesterday, which I was surprised how much they offered him.
Yeah.
4 years, $39 million.
It's a lot. And I do want to add this.
Now, he still could sign that offer sheet and become an unrestricted free agent next year.
Next year.
That creates all sorts of problems. Like, I think he can't be traded, all that stuff.
It's
By the way, the 4 years, $39 million, that puts you at about almost $10 million a season.
I mean, he's looking for double that, which is just crazy.
So then his best course would be to sign the sheet, see what you can do, and then
I think he's leery, though, of signing that because he knows that he's not going to get the same playing time, so his numbers aren't going to be as good. He's trying to capitalize on the fact that he scored 21 points a game in 23 games. And then they're saying, I'm not paying you based on however many games he played. I got to look at your whole body of work, and you only average about 10 points a game in your career.
Yeah, and how many more minutes are you going to get this year if the Sixers are healthy at that point, right?
And you know what? Maybe for that kind of money, the Sixers aren't a good fit for him.
Yeah.
Maybe he'd be better fit elsewhere.
Yeah. All right. Before I get to the next nugget, I do want to read this. When Daryl Morey was asked about Joel and Paul George, he said, quote, "This is straight from the doctors. We're not getting into the expectations game. The doctor's advice, what Joel said about listening to his body, that's going to be what carries the day this year."
How's that any different from any other year? They didn't listen to the doctors before?
It's not, but I wanted to get your guys' reaction to that.
Frustrating. The whole thing frustrating, right?
Yeah, nothing has changed. There has been nothing that has changed with this team other than they drafted VJ Edgecombe.
Now, my expectations are now down to the floor.
You know how excited we were when the uniforms came out the other day?
That was 2 days ago.
That was great. That was fun. That was like the one fun part of the 76ers discussion.
Now it's a complete 180, yeah. All they had to do was do media day and say, we're not ready. And now I'm out.
We are such a prisoner of the moment where they said, what? Now, if they would have said, I'm healthy and ready to go, would you have felt better?
Of course.
Absolutely. Yeah. Oh, everyone's ready to go to start the year.
I just don't know what to make of the whole timeline thing. They might
There is none.
Well, they might not want to say. I mean, today
Other than
is
McCain.
September 26th.
Yeah.
So
Tomorrow's September 27th.
What's Joel Embiid going to look like on October 12th?
Who knows?
Is he not ready? Is he? To me, Embiid seemingly felt like he was trending more towards mindset. I want to prove everybody wrong and be ready to go and be ready to show everybody that I'm back.
I think when after Christmas happens, that's when the mindset's really going to set in. All right, I got to start playing, and get some cohesiveness with these guys on the floor. Because McCain will be back. You think Podcast P is going to be back? It's just a mess. That's where we're at with the
Problem was last year by Christmas you were basically done.
I know. So we'll see without those guys how they fare. All right, before I get out of here, I want to respond to the unsportsmanlike moment of the day. And Chris Canty not giving any praise to Nick Sirianni. So I'm going to give some praise to Nick Sirianni and give you a couple nuggets here and a couple numbers. Nick Sirianni has the 4th best winning percentage ever for any head coach at this point in his career. Also has the highest winning percentage for a head coach since 1978. So I don't know how much Chris loves winning, but there you go. Nick Sirianni kind of wins a lot as a head coach.
I don't think Chris is a big fan of Nick Sirianni.
Well, that's for
from
sure.
Last year,
Well,
his
then
quote
you have-
was, he's a clown.
You have this as well. Every player that has played for him, Jason Kelsey, Lane Johnson, all these guys have had positive things to say about Sirianni, and he backs it up by winning a Super Bowl and by winning a lot of regular season games.
I think we see in all sports, culture is king.
It is.
And Sirianni has set the culture. He is the one that has set this culture in Philadelphia of moving on from last year's Super Bowl. And all of the things that you hear, the main thing, you can't win without the greatness of others. And the players have bought into what he says about all this. Listen, is he the greatest X and O coach of all time?
No.
Of course not. No, he's not. But we're seeing right now that having the culture and having the belief and the buy-in is what is selling the Philadelphia Eagles and their team and helping them win these close games. You can't have a coach who's a buffoon in these close games that they're finding ways to win. Because if you had an idiot coach, as essentially Canty is suggesting that you don't win close games like that. That's where the fine line comes in, right? When you have these games that you have to find a way to win, that's where the difference becomes the coaching.
And your players are disciplined. They don't make silly penalties. They don't have blocking the kicker, running into the kicker penalties that we saw over the weekend that lost the game. So,
and he talks about that, during post-game press conferences. If the Philadelphia Eagles are making stupid mistakes, giving up penalty yards, all that, he talks about it, and they kind of correct it the following week, right? So
one thing this team generally doesn't have issues with is off-the-field problems, time management, stupid penalty. Yeah, they do have stupid penalties from time to time, the Jalen Carter stuff. And last week, him getting a taunting penalty.
Yep.
Although the taunting penalty stuff in the NFL
Outrageous.
is a joke. That one last night was ridiculous.
Outrageous.
I have a feeling by week 10 or 11, that's going to be all forgotten about. These referees won't enforce that.
Three-pack for you.
Three-pack of Nuggets. The Nuggets are brought to you by the Hub gear that works as hard as you do. Sports Bash live at the Roost today. Outside, we're on the patio at the Roost, and they got a great menu for everybody that wants to come down and check out the Ryder Cup all weekend long. And Phillies baseball tonight, 6:45. Football all weekend right here at the Roost. Eagles on Sunday. It's a 1 o'clock start. You can come out, watch the game, maybe get a little round of golf in before or after the Eagles play. But when we come back, it's a Sal Pal Friday. We're going down to Tampa. Sal Paolantonio will join me. He had a one-on-one sit-down with one Baker Mayfield. We'll hear what Baker thinks about the Birds' defense on a Sal Pal Friday. Coming up next.
you can entertain and score 50 points and lose. You know, we just wanted one touchdown and a field goal, and that would have got us a win. So I'm not buying into boring. This is not about entertainment. This is about winning. And I look at our defense. We were boring, too. Everybody knew what front we was going to be in. Hey, Warren, Derek, they're going to be on the same side. They're going to be over and they're going to be under. And 90% of the time, they're going to be in cover 2. Beat us. So it's all about it's about execution and getting the job done and winning games.
That was Derek Brooks this morning on Unsportsmanlike. He was talking about the Tampa defense, that they were boring. This is what we were going to do. You knew what we were doing. You knew where we're lining up. Beat us. They won a Super Bowl. The Eagles won a Super Bowl. They did it by being a little bit less boring than so far this year's team. But we're going to talk to Sal Paolantonio, a Sal Pal Friday. He is live in Tampa with the Eagles and the Buccaneers. He had a sit-down one-on-one with Baker Mayfield and Todd Bowles. We'll get their perspective of this Philadelphia Eagles team in just a couple of moments from now when Sal Paolantonio joins us on the Sports Bash Live on 97.3 ESPN, a Sal Pal Friday.
By the way, since you had brought up Derek Brooks, can we just bring up Rondé Barber and that interception?
Why?
Why?
That killed my childhood. That's why.
You know what's funny? So we have the Lombardi Trophy out here.
That's one of the more devastating losses I've faced as an Eagles fan.
We have the Lombardi Trophy out here, and there's this young little girl. She just got her picture taken. She's yelling the Eagles, and Dad says to the girl, she's been alive for 2 Super Bowls. I said, can you imagine in our childhood?
I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining. I get an 08 World Series.
Where were you for that 0-2 interception return
I was
for a
probably in
touchdown
my crib.
that ended the Veterans Stadium?
I was in my crib.
What's the Joe Jaravicious catch?
Yes.
The Buccaneers have been a part of just like ripping your heart out in so many instances. It's unbelievable because, you know, other than the Super Bowl that they won with Tom Brady and then the other Super Bowl that they won with that defense, this is not an illustrious organization career-wise. I mean, for years they couldn't win games. We always had the
creamsicle uniforms,
but they couldn't win a game in freezing temperatures until they beat the Eagles. It's just been a house of horrors, and the stories of the Eagles and Buccaneers rivalry, if you want to call it that, has been very frustrating when you think about it. And listen, I think right now the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and we talked about this with TJ Rives earlier from the Buccaneers Radio Network, the Buccaneers play in the NFC South. It's not a high-profile division with Carolina, New Orleans, and obviously you have Tampa Bay and Atlanta. So those teams don't get the same publicity, and so you don't think of them the same. But this is a really good Tampa team. I think this is a really good Tampa team. I like the fact that they have played together. This core group of guys on their offense have been together with Baker and their 2 receivers, and you add this rookie receiver to the mix now. You've had Bucky Irving now. They have a good run game. I don't know. From the outside looking in, for the people listening out there, 609-403-0973. How many people out there think that this Buccaneers team is a legit team?
I would say they are. I mean, they're always in the mix, and
Yeah.
it feels like Baker, the touchdown maker, has finally found like his rhythm with Tampa Bay, right? Like struggled in Cleveland, he bounces around to Carolina, Los Angeles, right? And then in Tampa Bay, he's made himself into arguably a top 10 quarterback.
Not to mention, you know, he lost his coordinator, Cohen, to Jacksonville. He's got a new coordinator this year. So
I also want to add this: Todd Bowles seems to always have success against the Eagles.
1-4. The Eagles are 1-4 against Todd Bowles' defense. But I don't know how much, and this is something that I want to kind of pick Sal's brain on here a little bit. I know he is in Tampa, and so we're trying to connect with him down there in Tampa for a Sal Pal Friday. But is it Todd Bowles, the defense that he runs that is a matchup problem for Philadelphia, or is it that Philadelphia has been shorthanded in the games against him? Which one do you think of first?
I mean, they have not had A.J. Brown in most if not all those games.
The Eagles are 1-0 when they have A.J. against Tampa Bay.
Now, last year was completely just injuries all over the field. They were down 24-0 in that game.
Yep.
Their receivers were John Ross was out there. I looked at today.
Yeah,
Paris Campbell was
no
a receiver.
Devontae, no AJ, no
Right.
Lane.
So, I mean, with that said, you would think Sirianni would figure out a way to beat a Todd Bowles defense, figure out a way to beat a blitz if he's blitzing 60-70% of the time.
Well, in the past, as you mentioned, the receivers that they have, you jam them up at the line so they can't get separation, so the pass game's out. Your run game kind of gets stifled because, teams are kind of gearing up for that. Now, how has it changed now that they have to defend A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith? They have Saquon Barkley. Do they have enough to say, hey, we can take somebody out of the game, beat us another way? We know Philadelphia can beat that. Who does Todd Bowles target in this game? That's what we're kind of looking for is
it about beating the blitz, right? If he's blitzing 60% of the time, you're going to see a lot of blitzing on
but the
Sunday.
Eagles have done a good job in beating the blitz with Hurts and done a good
means,
job of beating the blitz with the weapons that they have here. A lot of times it's like if you're going to blitz the Eagles are going to take advantage of it.
And when they're in man coverage, when an opposing defense is in man coverage against the Eagles, Jalen and that offense really steps it up. I mean, so if they're going to bring extra guys, let them bring extra guys because the Eagles seem to have success when they bring those extra guys and are facing man coverage.
Well, the Eagles, one thing I always say, when you look at the Eagles and when the other team's strength is pass rush, that style of play, I always feel that Philadelphia has the equalizer with their offensive line. So if you're a team that has that stud edge rusher or that stud interior lineman,
Vita Vea,
any of these guys, like even when Aaron Donald played or Micah Parsons with this in Dallas, how many times did you play a Dallas team where Micah Parsons just absolutely wrecked the game against the Eagles? Do you remember a game where like, oh my God, that Parsons just killed us all night? Now there might have been a game when Hurts wasn't healthier, but I'm talking about full strength offensive line, full ready to go. When you have your offensive line, when the Eagles have their full offensive line, they are tough to beat.
And that's one of the reasons why they don't get blown out. I mean, they did get blown out against Tampa last year, but that was the only game.
Early on,
if you look back at the schedule, they won all their games.
Well, remember they lost against Atlanta on the
Atlanta,
drop.
that was
right?
a close game, though.
They really lost to the Bucs last year, and big reason is they were missing AJ, they were missing Devontae, missing Lane. So it's a big part of the offense right there that they didn't have, and you're going down in the heat in Tampa, and you just are unlucky against Tampa.
I am looking forward to a tush push to see how Todd Bowles defends the tush push. We know about Vita Vea. He's a big man in the middle.
Does Vita jump early?
Maybe.
Well, they had the kid Watson that they drafted, that 478-pound kid.
They reactivated.
But he's not going to play, they said, in the game on Sunday.
I don't believe he's ready to play.
No. You don't need to be ready to just stand there.
I don't think he's ready to do that.
He was on Florida Gators last year. It wasn't like he played for some Huckleberry school.
Well, they showed pictures of him in training camp. I mean, he was just standing on the sidelines.
That's all you need to do for that tush push. Just stand there and move me.
Yeah.
Move me.
It's like tug of war. Just with all these bodies.
I don't think he's ready even to do that.
Well, he's evidently not going to be activated.
I mean, it does it get banned next year? I think it's pretty. Yeah. I think it will. I mean, you got guys lining up over the ball on the defensive side. I mean, there's guys moving early on.
Every
by the
game
way,
now there's a false
the
start.
Saints tried it, and the reason I know this, my brother's a massive Saints fan, and he starts freaking out, texting me. The Saints got called for the false start.
Right, I did see that. So Kellen Moore thought that he could.
He thought he
run
could
the
do
tush
it.
Push
Yep.
with Spencer Rattler.
Yeah, with Rattler down
Okay,
there
that's
in
not
New
gonna work.
Orleans. It's a
By the way,
disaster.
Sal Pao was the first person to talk to Jordan Davis
Yep.
after the touchdown last
Yeah.
week. As soon as he scored that touchdown and the game ended, he ran right off the field and talked to Sal Pao.
He still had his helmet on.
He was, and it looked like he could. Have you seen all the memes of him running with, Forrest Gump?
Yes, I have seen
all
that.
week long. They've had Jordan Davis. He is still running.
It's been the Jordan Davis meme and the Aaron Glenn meme with Earth, Wind, and Fire. It's been those two just all week. You always get a few memes out of every week NFL football, right?
The Aaron Glenn one was pretty funny, though.
Yeah, that
him
was great.
dancing up and down the sideline
And
too.
they still lost.
Yeah, well, they ended up losing that game, but
To
that
Tampa,
was
right?
similar
Yeah.
with a.
And
field
what does
goal.
that tell you about Tampa? I mean, Tampa was losing to the Jets until the blocked field goal.
Well,
and
Tampa's the
Baker had
first
to bring
team
him back.
since the merger that has won all 3 games where they needed to come down to their last possession.
So what does that
to
tell
win the
you
game.
about Tampa?
They're scratching and clawing. And look, I don't know if it's your team. Do you say they're finding ways to win and good teams find ways to win? And if it's not your team, you want to say, well, they're barely winning some of these games. Isn't that how that works?
Yeah.
Who was it? I forget who it was. Somebody was talking about getting into, the opportunity of, I guess, winning close games and talking about winning close games. You're just squeaking by. A win's a win. I mean,
especially early on in the season.
So
yeah.
Tampa Bay this year beat
3.
the Falcons 23-20. Now, the Falcons lost 30-0 last week to Carolina. They beat the Texans, who were 0-3, 20-19. And one problem the Texans have is their offensive line is shamefully bad. So you struggled to beat a team. Now, the score was 20-19, so it's not like Houston scored a lot on you. Then last week they beat the Jets, who were probably not all that good, 29-27. They are a +6 in the point differential against 3 teams who are collectively, the Jets are what, 1-2?
No, they don't have a win yet.
Okay, so 0-6 plus the Falcons are 1-2.
Right.
So collectively 1-8. And they have a +6 point differential. Yeah. Should we be as concerned about this Buccaneers team and game as it sounds like almost everybody is out there?
I think it's like kind of the Mets thing, right? Where like the Phillies have trouble with the Mets in Citi Field. It's like the Eagles have trouble with the Bucs in Tampa Bay. But on paper, especially with the injuries that the Bucs have this week, it's like you have all your guys back compared to last year if you're the Eagles. I think it's just that factor of getting over the hump and beating this team.
I do think if the game is close in the fourth quarter, then you might be a little worried, right?
Yeah. It's a 3.5-point spread right now.
It's a 3.5-point spread. The Eagles and the Bucs. You can listen to the game on 97.3 ESPN. We are efforting Sal Paolantonio, by the way, and as we told you, he is in Tampa already with Tampa and Philadelphia. So hopefully we'll be able to get him between now and the end of the show because he did sit down with Todd Bowles and Baker Mayfield. I want to ask everybody out there about Baker Mayfield. When I tell you the quarterback of the other team is Baker Mayfield, does that worry you?
I mean, he's not Patrick Mahomes or Lamar Jackson.
You are.
He doesn't worry me in that sense, but he does.
He was the number 1 overall pick in the draft.
Yeah.
It's almost like we forget that he was.
He was.
Well,
he did bounce around the league, but he's finally found a home in Tampa, and he does have the ability to bring him back in the fourth quarter.
What he is that worries me is
gunslinger?
I like him, and he is a gunslinger, and he's willing, and we're willing to do anything it takes to try to win. Like, he is one of them guys that's like, I'm going to go down, and I'm going to, like, you're going to put a bullet in me, it better be 2. Because it better make sure that I'm not moving a finger to come after you.
No, he's going to scrap, fight, claw to try and win a ball game. And that's what worries me. And listen, he's still a good quarterback. He can sling it, man. And he has just found a way to do it in Tampa Bay. It has made them a competitor at post-Tom Brady at this point. So, down in the fourth quarter, if it's close, I'm a little worried about Baker Mayfield. I mean, Baker, the touchdown maker, that's a guy I worry about a little bit.
I'll tell you, this Buccaneers team, when I look at the scores of the games that they've played, you're not all that impressed with the way they've won these games. But winning games in the NFL, they've won 2 road games, by the way, at Atlanta, at Houston. So while those teams are not great, they did find ways to win on the road. I do think this Tampa team is pretty good, though. I do think if they're healthy, now their offensive line is a mess this week, potentially. They could have 4 of their 5 starters out for the game. But I think a big spot in this game is how does Philadelphia compensate for not having Nolan Smith this week?
Yeah.
We haven't heard a definitive, like, this is what they might do. This guy might get more reps. He's going to – because Nolan Smith, remember, he plays the opposite side from Jalix Hunt. And he generally is the guy that gets the majority of the snaps. So when you look at the snap counts the last, the first 3 weeks of the season, I'm interested to see how many Nolan Smith gets as opposed to the guys that play opposite him and how they divvy them up. Because now someone's going to have to go to the other side and go over there and play. Now, that doesn't mean that, hey, you can't play the opposite side, but who's going to pick up the amount of snaps that he generally gets for you? That's, to me, something. And how does that – because I've been asking everybody this week, on the level of importance for the Eagles' defense to be successful, where is Nolan Smith, the edge rusher, as opposed to, well, it's number 1, Jalen Carter. It's number 2, Quinyon Mitchell. It's number 3, Cooper DeJean. It's number 4. Like, where is Nolan Smith on your hierarchy of important guys on defense?
I would put him probably behind those guys you just mentioned, plus Zach Bond. I would probably put him 5th.
I'd probably put him around there too. I think last year, especially playing with the triceps, right? He got hurt last year in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
We remember that and played through a little bit. So I'd probably put him 5 or 6 right there with you, Pete.
He asked the question. I think Jalix Hunt. This is a
I think it's
Jalix
Hunt too.
It's time for him to hold it down.
About
until
Zadarius Smith
gets back.
Yeah.
By the way, Nolan Smith played 70% of the snaps last week, followed by Jalix Hunt with 65%, followed by Zadarius Smith at 36%. After that, the next highest player, nobody else got a snap.
Yeah, it's going to be Zadarius Smith and Jalix
Oh,
Hunt.
Uche.
It's gonna be those
Uche
two,
had
though.
29% of the snaps. So I guess Uche gets a little bit of an uptick here.
Yeah, and Zadarius Smith's going to get more run. Jalix Hunt's going to be up more. I mean, you're thin now. You're a little bit more thinner than you were.
So the question is Jalix Hunt gets his same snap count? Does Zadarius Smith go from 36% to 70%?
I think he goes.
I don't know if he can handle that. He
55 to 60.
He's in his 30s.
Yeah, but that's why you go get him, right? He's
I know
gonna get an
his
uptick.
role is going to obviously increase, but,
I think it's Zadarius Smith.
Or does Zadarius Smith go from 36% to maybe 50%, and then Uche goes from 29% and then goes up to, say, 40%.
Right. I think Zadarius Smith.
And then somebody else gets the old Uche, is that Ojulari that goes down and gets
Patrick
15%,
Johnson.
somebody like that.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's going to be Jalix Hunt, Zadarius Smith show. They're going to get a good uptick. And by the way, you have to remember, you're going to be at 105 degrees, so you got to keep switching guys out, right?
That's
so you got to
definitely
rotate.
something.
That's something to watch for too.
You believe some cramping will be
I guarantee it.
the choice word on Sunday's broadcast.
You could ask TJ that, right? It's going to be hot down there. He's a sideline guy.
And Tom Brady is doing the broadcast, by the way.
Well, TJ did say earlier that it will be 105 degrees on the field. All right. It is a Sal Pal Friday. Sal Paolantonio, he's in the hot box down there. It is at Raymond James Stadium. It's going to be triple digits we're hearing on Sunday, Sal. And let's start with that story. The Eagles are leaving early. They're leaving today. They already left 4:15. How big of a deal is the Heat going to be in this matchup again in Week 4 between the Eagles and the Buccaneers? Welcome back, Sal Paolantonio, for a Sal Pal Friday.
First of all, I apologize for making you and your audience wait, but I was in Coach Bowles' office, and I'm at One Buck Place in Tampa, and the Bucs love it. They love it. Baker Mayfield, I talked to him one-on-one today, Levante David and Todd Bowles, and they all are loving the fact that the Heat is renting at least a little space in the Eagles' minds. And, yeah, the reports are true. We'll see whether they come to fruition. But we're hearing from the National Weather Service that the real feel on the field at Raymond James Stadium at 1 p.m. at kickoff with the Eagles and the Bucs on Sunday will be about 105 to 106 degrees. It's not unusual. The Eagles have played in this kind of bad weather before. I've been to Eagles games here in Week 4. I've been to Giants games here Week 4. I've seen the Patriots come down here. It's rough. There's no question about it, and especially because the away bench, the visitors' bench, Michael, is on the east side of Raymond James Stadium that gets absolutely no relief from the sun whatsoever. The home side has, on the west side, does get late afternoon relief from the sun. And also, the players and the coaches practice in it all the time here. So it's an issue. It's clear that they wanted to come in early to try to get acclimated. I hear that there is going to be an Eagles walkthrough at 1 o'clock tomorrow, Saturday, to try to get a feel for what the temperature's like on the field. Nick Sirianni, in my view, is doing everything possible to change it up, to mitigate the circumstances, to mitigate the heat factor. But I can tell you, having been down here a lot in my life, and have covered games here, it is just different. It's different today, Mike. I flew down late last night to come and do these interviews and see Baker Mayfield practice. And I punted. I was under a picnic. I was under a picnic table umbrella watching practice. I refused to go out into the hot sun. That's how different it feels when you get down here at this time of year.
Well, you mentioned Todd Bowles. You just spoke to him, former Eagle defensive coordinator. He has now been the head coach in Tampa, and he has given the Eagles all sorts of problems, specifically Jalen Hurts. Now, some would say, Sal, the Eagles have been shorthanded. No A.J. Brown, no Devontae Smith, no Lane Johnson last year. The playoff game a couple of years ago, A.J. Brown unable to go in that game. So, obviously, there has not been a full-strength offense. But is that more the case, or does Todd Bowles have Nick Sirianni's offense number?
No, Michael, I think you hit the nail on the head. Not only is there a difference in the personnel, but you also have to remember there's a difference in Jalen Hurts. And when I talked to Todd Bowles about it, he said, this is a completely different quarterback 1 year later. His ability at post-snap diagnosis of the defense to recognize and read what defenses are doing after the snap is light years ahead of where it was 4 years ago. 1 year ago in week 4 last year when the Eagles lost 33-16. And on the flip side of it, Mike, the Eagles defense under Vic Fangio was only in week 4 of development. And Cooper DeJean had not really become a full-time component of that defense. They came down here and Baker Mayfield put up 347 yards passing with 2 touchdowns. He was 30 for 47, as you remember. And the Eagles could not stop the Bucs passing game at all. But it's a different Eagles defense, and Baker Mayfield admitted that to me. Their ability to do what they did last week in the second half against Matthew Stafford, match up against different pass routes, make sure that the rules of engagement in the secondary are down pat and the communication is down pat. And he said, if I have to wait and hold the ball an extra beat or two, that gives Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis and others a chance to get to me. So different defense, different Jalen Hurts, no question about it.
On the flip side, Sal, Sal Pal ESPN on Instagram. You can check out some of these highlights. Don't forget the matchup show, these interviews, I should say. You talk to Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield, his offensive line might be compromised this week, but no Nolan Smith. What does that mean for the Eagles defense in their efforts to get to Baker Mayfield?
Well, Nolan Smith has been a factor, but he hasn't been a major factor in the first 3 games. You know, really, the Eagles' pass rush developed from the inside out. That's been pretty clear ever since Fangio took over a year ago when he emphasized to Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter that it was really important for them to get into shape so they stayed on the field, that his rotation at the defensive tackle position was going to be limited, and these guys were going to play a lot of snaps. You saw that last week. Jalen Carter played 91% of the defensive snaps and a lot of special teams. Jalen Carter was on the field a lot last week, and he didn't run out of gas at all. So the pass rush comes from the inside out. I don't think the loss of Nolan Smith is that big of a deal. I would not make a big deal out of that.
All right, let's get a couple quick takes from you. I know it's a hot day down there. It's a busy time. We're actually, Sal, live at the Roost Harbor Pines Golf Course. We played 9 before the show today. I actually hit them straight, and I hit them well. So it was one of the best days that I ever had. They said the next time Sal's in town, we got to play 18 out here, all right? So the invite's out there for you. But before we hear about your golf game, I want to hear about how the Eagles this time around, you know, both teams, close games, 3-0, 3-0. They've been winning 3-0. They are the only team since the merger to win on their last possession all 3 times. So is this a good Bucs team, or are they just finding ways to win and they're vulnerable?
Mike, first of all, you don't want to hear about my golf game because it's pretty bad.
Mine too, by the way.
I like going out. I like going out and playing golf with friends, and I accept the invitation. Anytime that I can be out on the golf course is good for me. Not good for my partners, but good for me. But no, Michael, you look around the league, and for the last 2 years that I've talked about this on your program, the great Mike Gill Sports Bash program at the Jersey Shore, with the support of Johnny G and the Griner team at Berger Realty in Ocean City, New Jersey, I have talked about how this is a one-score league. It is a one-score league. Last year, the most games ever in NFL history were decided by 8 points or less, which is the definition of one score. And this year, they're headed towards a new record. So everybody's winning close games. A lot of teams are winning them in the last minute. You've seen a lot of walk-off field goals already, Michael. Seen a lot of. We saw 2 blocked field goals in the fourth quarter. We went to Elias, and we went to everywhere, and we said, tell us another game where there was 2 blocked field goals back-to-back in the fourth quarter like that, and they couldn't come up with it. They could not come up with it. So this is an interesting time in the NFL, and you're trying to win games any way you can.
Yeah. Well, we saw it last night, Sal, in the Thursday night game. The special teams, kickoff returns, kicking game. The guy couldn't kick it through the kick box last night. It gave them the ball on the 40-yard line, and Seattle's able to win that game in regulation instead of potentially having to go to overtime because they simply couldn't kick it past the 20. The special teams, the blocked field goals, one last week here. You got a chance to talk to Jordan Davis right as he came off the field. What was that whole situation like, seeing that in person?
I've covered maybe 1,000 football games. I've never seen anything like it. Never seen anything like it. I mean, a walk-off block field goal returned by a 300-pound plus man that runs like a runaway train. And, Mike, no one was catching up to him. Every time he took a stride or two, he was putting more distance between himself and the nearest Los Angeles Ram.
Crazy.
So I never saw anything like it. It is one of the greatest athletic feats. I'm going to say this really slowly so that people can understand it, and you can record it and maybe play it back. Jordan Davis's block of that field goal, scoop and score, walk-off win at Lincoln Financial Field by the Philadelphia Eagles against the Los Angeles Rams was one of the greatest athletic feats of our lifetime.
All right, then. We got that clipped and ready to go. But I can tell you what, the way he picked that up, it was magical. I mean, it bounces right to him. He scoops it, and like a young kid, and then he's there greeted by Sal Paolantonio right after. What could be better? I mean, it was poetic justice.
I was the first one to get to him, and the producers back in Bristol were like, he hasn't even taken his helmet off. I said, all I wanted to hear was in his voice, he was out of breath. And I wanted the audience to hear that.
Awesome.
That was important. I thought that was important to capture the drama of the moment and in real time. They were playing the Eagles fight song right behind me. Usually there's a little bit of a time between the fight song and when you do interviews. But thank you to the Eagles PR staff. They saw me coming. They didn't stop me. He took off his helmet, and he saw that ESPN mic flag and my smiling face, and he was ready to go and talk about it with his out of breath and a big smile on his face. I'm going to say it again, one of the greatest athletic feats of our lifetime.
Well, we'll see what happens in the heat in Tampa here. Sal, let's get your key and your pick for this week's game in Tampa.
Well, I'm going to give you my first key based on your comment, which I think is very accurate. I mean, you can't let Baker Mayfield come back in the fourth quarter and beat you. I mean, it's going to be a close game in the fourth quarter. It's going to be a close game, and you cannot let that happen. So that's number one. And number two is you got to be able to keep the plays in front of you. One of the biggest things that was a problem last year when they went down there is they just let these passing plays get behind the secondary, and big plays happened as a result. And that's got to happen early in the game. And Baker told me, he said, we're not going to get shots early because the Eagles will be fresh. We'll get our shots late. He said that. So they're banking on the fact that the Eagles will run out of gas in the heat in the fourth quarter. And then number 3, Mike, somehow, you got to find Saquon Barkley and you got to give him a chance to play like he played last year. So we looked at it. Last year, he averaged 4 yards per carry before being touched by a defender, what we call before contact. 4 yards a carry, average before being touched. This year, it's 1.9.
Wow. Well, they got to get there, and teams are obviously blitzing a little bit more on them, it looks like, and saying you're not going to beat us this way.
Yep. And when I talked to some of the people here today in Tampa, they said it's a combination of things. Run blitzings by defense, keying on Saquon, and then, the offensive running game scheme it has been figured out. There's only so many things you can do in the run game in terms of offensive line play, and they showed a lot of it last year.
All right, well, Tampa week 4 seems to be a recurring theme, hot, and Eagles Buccaneers 3-0 versus 3-0. You can listen to the game right here on 97.3 ESPN. Sal Paolantonio, will you have a copy of the Tampa Times, Tampa Tribune down there? Or do you
Michael, you're going to have to turn on SportsCenter on Sunday morning to see what kind of tricks I have up my sleeve, brother.
All right, well, stay cool, man. Stay cool.
All right, brother.
All right, Sal Paolantonio, everybody. A Sal Pal Friday here on the Sports Batch Live, 97.3 ESPN. We're at the Roost. It's hot out here, too, but he said 20 degrees, hotter now, 25. All right, Sports Batch Live, 97.3 ESPN, the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app. And for the people watching on YouTube and on X, we got one more segment from the Roost left to go. It's already, the whole deck is filled. Got a whole deck.
It's getting
filled.
busy.
I wonder what everybody's ordering over there. I saw a cheesesteak come by over there on that special menu. We got a special menu for the Ryder Cup. They got a Ryder Cup specials menu. So
it's not going too well for the U.S. Team right now.
No, it's not. That didn't start off well.
They didn't start great either.
No.
They also all wore sneakers with their suits, too.
Probably why.
Did
Look
they?
like a bunch of smacked asses. They deserve to get
So
their ass
that's
kicked
why
now.
they're performing poorly, right?
Now they deserve to get their ass kicked. The European team's just not missing. They're making everything. All right. Well, we're on the golf course here. I hit them well. Nuggets didn't.
Bad day for me.
Bad day.
Ninth hole, though, we started turning things around. We had the end.
We played 9. We didn't play 18. Nah. All right, when we come back, we'll do my Friday 5. We'll look back at my 5 best games in the summertime and match them up to my 5 favorite games in week 4. That's next. This is the Sports Bash.
Oh, yeah. Sure. Thank you.
Oh, man.
All right.
All right, time for the Friday Five. We do the Friday Five each and every Friday at this time. Now, the way it works is we gave you 5 games in the summertime that we thought would be the 5 best games of the week. And then we get to that week, we're going to see if those 5 games are the same games. They're brought to you by Jersey Cow. It's a year-long thing. Ice cream is a year-long thing. At Jersey Cow, Northfield, Absecon, Brigantine, the best ice cream is Jersey Cow. Could use some ice cream right now.
I know. I might stop at Jersey Cow on my way home.
It's pretty damn hot out right now.
Yep.
All right, here we go. Friday Five from the summertime. My 5 games from the summer Friday Five, week 4, were Baltimore, Kansas City,
Easy.
Green Bay, Dallas,
Easy.
Cincy, Denver. That's the Monday nighter. Washington, Atlanta, Minnesota, Pittsburgh. They were my 5. Was that?
No Jaden Daniels.
No Jaden Daniels. He's out?
Jaden Daniels is out, as well as Scary Terry, yeah.
Okay. That was my Friday Five in the summertime.
Now, you didn't have Micah Parsons getting traded to Green Bay in the summertime, obviously.
I predicted that. All right, Friday Five for this week is, let's go. Well, one of them is Indianapolis Rams.
That's actually a good game.
That's a solid game.
Who would have thought Indianapolis Rams would have been something you were interested in? That's one. Baltimore, Kansas City. The loser's 1-3.
Yeah, it's tough to come back from 1-3.
Yep. Bingo. Green Bay, Dallas, Parsons, Sunday night. Dallas, like to see them get knocked back another peg.
I'd like to see Micah Parsons have
Although-
about 5 sacks.
Yeah. Are you rooting
in
for
Jerry's
Dallas?
No.
Green Bay
I want to
lost
see
last
Parsons
week.
get 5 sacks with Jerry in Jerry's house.
That'd be nice. That'd be great.
That'd be great.
I mean, if Green Bay loses, now they're 2-2.
Neck and neck. I know. But, no, I'd rather see Micah go off against Dallas.
See, that's a small-minded take. I'm rooting for Dallas.
Oh.
I want Green Bay to get pushed, but Dallas isn't doing anything in the
I
playoffs.
still want
I
him
know,
to
but-
fall backwards.
Don't you want to see the camera pan to Jerry Jones on Micah's
Absolutely.
3rd sack of the night?
Thank you, Jerry.
Yes.
3rd sack of the night, but you lose on a field goal. That's 3. How about Jacksonville, San Francisco?
No, I'm out on that.
Why?
3-0 San Fran, 2-1 Jacksonville.
I can't-
Jacksonville's been good.
I
man.
can't
Jacksonville
get into
wins. They're
Jacksonville.
3-1.
Yeah.
I can't get into Jacksonville.
Brock Purdy going to start.
Good for Brock Purdy. I just can't
No,
get
that's
into
going to be a great game.
I can't get into any Jacksonville game.
Underrated game. Come on,
How
Pete.
about London? Carson Wentz
Carson Wentz
against Pittsburgh.
Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers.
I'll take that game.
Into that game?
Yeah, morning game too, by the way.
I said that.
Yeah.
Dublin.
Yeah.
That's
I'm
5.
going to wake up early for that
So
game.
Washington, Atlanta, I pulled out. That game's terrible. Kirk Cousins come back against his former team.
Nah.
Nobody seemed to like that one. Good
Nah.
try.
Nah.
How about Browns, Lions? Browns last week beat Green Bay. Can they double it up by beating the Lions?
Detroit? That defense, man. Cleveland. Joe Flacco.
I got Detroit in my survivor pool, so I'm going with them.
All right, I got Buffalo this week.
All right, that's the Friday Five. It's brought to you by Jersey Cow. Ice cream's a year-long thing at Jersey Cow, Absecon, Northfield, and Brigantine. What's your flavor? Nutty Nana.
Cookie Monster.
Oh.
When you guys were getting
Oh,
all that.
Dougie likes that.
Oh, that sounds great.
The Nutty Nana is superior.
Oh, I was so jealous
that Cookie
day.
Monster was pretty good.
So
It was
jealous.
Real good.
The cookie butter
Oh,
was that.
stop.
By the way, you had the cheesesteak at the Roost.
I did.
You had that flatbread
Spinach,
pizza.
yeah.
That thing looked banging,
Very
by the
good.
way.
Did.
Yes.
Yeah. Looking forward to the music. The Chris Yoder band is setting up in the corner. The whole deck is packed with people. They got Ryder Cup going on inside. Bars full inside, too, right?
It's a beautiful development. Beautiful
Awesome.
grounds. Everything about this place.
The
course was
Roost,
awesome.
By the way, the Roost, Blue Heron Pines, right here in Egg Harbor Township. Make sure you stop out either tonight for Phillies baseball or this weekend. We'll have the final thoughts. I got game picks and game balls next.
Kirk's going to play in that game.
Yeah, if they lose it.
It's going to be a storyline. I think he's going to short leave.
Who? Noah?
Kirk.
Kirk.
Penny.
Well, he said short leave.
All right, get ready to get out of here on a Friday night, Happy Hour Friday. It's all the Happy Hour Friday picks coming in. People sending pictures. What are you having this weekend? Let us know. By the way, we're at the Roost. We want to thank Tim, Chris, everybody at the Roost today. Jen inside is the bartender. So if you're coming to the Roost tonight and you go inside the bartender, make sure you say hello to Jen. She's been saying, send them inside to me. So she's awesome. She took care of us, and she did a great job. So say hello to Jen. Say, hey, Jen, they were talking about you on the Sports Bash today. She's inside. The great wait staff here. It is packed on the deck. So if you want to come and eat, I think you're going to have to wait a little bit. But, hey, that's all good. Ryder Cup all weekend. Phillies tonight. Penn State is a night game tomorrow night. It's a whiteout.
The real whiteout.
The real whiteout, yes.
All right. Pete G., my producer on site today, Josh Henning back in the studios. Nuggets was live on location today. He played lousy golf.
Yeah, well, except to the ninth hole. We got to remember, the ninth hole is the hardest hole, and I was the best on that hole out of everybody. Got to remember that. We finished strong.
They do have a putting green over there. You could work on a little bit.
I didn't get to
got
work
a driving
on.
range
Yeah, I
over
didn't get to
there.
work on my driver today. You know.
So, all right, picks and game balls. Here we go. Kind of like Tampa. Oh, 3.5. Eagles are favored on the road in a spot that they have not been good in.
I'm sensing a little upset alert here.
Oh, boy.
I feel like it's one of those games where it's just hot and late in the game, like Sal said, Tampa's motto, they're waiting for this. They think that the Eagles can hang with them, and then late in the game that they'll run out of gas. I don't think they're wrong about this. 27-23, Tampa. Game balls, don't know. It's gonna be a
Baker?
rough day.
Baker.
Find a way, Baker.
Bucky.
I'm going to say, I think Bucky Irving has a big game against you this week. Cade Ottman, the tight end, has a big game against you this week. Defensively, on your side of the ball, looking for, if the Eagles do find a way to win this game, probably secondary, Cooper DeJean's all over the place, making plays, making stops, making sure that the big play doesn't happen. I got Tampa Bay win the game 27-23. That's my pick this week. How you feel about that? Rondé Barbarish?
Oh.
Don't bring that up.
It's going back to his childhood.
Who's worse, Barber or Jaravicious?
You know, that poor Veteran Stadium, it deserved
I watched last night during the rain delay. Who watched it?
Me too.
20 years of since you watched that?
Yes, I watched it.
That football game was so lousy that I went back to the rain delay.
It did deserve a send-off like that.
Yeah,
but
20 years since the Veteran Stadium, they played that during the rain delay last night. I remember watching the implosion. I was at Bright House Field, and they played it on the big screen at spring training.
Wow.
And the whole park was like in a hush. It was like,
Can't believe it.
Yeah, my childhood just went down in smoke.
No more 700 level.
All right, everybody, have a great Friday. Thanks to everybody who stopped up. The Chris Yoder Band is coming up right after us. They're set up outside on the deck, so going to be live music outside tonight as well. Hope everybody has a great weekend. Earnshaw has the locker room tomorrow, and Josh is over at the Fall Fun Fest in Margate from 12 to 3. Have a great weekend.